Start her up.
Hey guys, George here, back at it again with another train stream. We're talking everything about the train.
Alright, and welcome to GSW Trains, Fast Friday. What we got tonight, George?
Postwar Friday.
Nice. And for those of you that are joining us tonight, welcome to the stream. This is George.
Everybody on the Jeep for the train.
I am Wally, George's dad. A lot of people that take GSW Trains places. I'm Old G George, better known as the old guy George. When it used to take him places, still feeds them trains and everything like that.
Oh yeah.
So we've got a lot going on here. We got some feedback that our mics aren't working, but that might not be because of the mic's fault. That might be because All right, well, let's start all over again. Hey, welcome to another live stream here at the GFW Trains Worldwide Studios. Fast Friday,
Right.
where we talk about everything.
Off the train.
You are,
George. Everybody on the Jeep for the train.
and I am Wally, otherwise known as the guy that takes GFW Trains places, and I'm OG George, the old guy who used to take him places and still takes them both places and feeds them trains. Right on. So,
Keep the sword.
welcome to the live stream. You know what? I know that you guys are going to have your mic problems, so just get it out of your system about the mics not being good, because we got post-war trains running tonight, and post-war trains are loud, absolutely loud, and that's what we got going on. So we've got the two mics here, and we got my dad who doesn't have a mic, so I'm going to put this over here, so hopefully the mic can pick him up. So, hey, welcome to the stream, George. So, like you were saying, what do we got running here tonight?
We got my 726, no, 736 furniture on the outside track with some old cars from when I was younger. And then on the outside, or on the inside, we got my Santa Fe, my dad's car.
We had a lot of issues with some of these post-war trains out here. We haven't ran them in a while, and sounds like I thought we had the mics checked. Oh my God. Now, how does that work? Everybody, can you hear anything other than growling trains? Let's try this. Sounds like lightning hitting the house. All right, we'll start out like this and see how this goes. I know that the sound is going to be a little bit wonky tonight because we're running post-war trains, and if you know this about post-war trains, they are loud. Right. So, where are we at now? Hold on. Hold this.
He says it's much better.
All right.
George is
We're
breathing.
going here.
Heavy breathing.
Yeah.
George, what are you doing?
Don't listen to it. All right. Well, here we go. It's a post-war night. Yeah, well, it's better because we don't have any trains running. That's what I want to tell you. It's going to be a real wild-sounding night tonight because we've got post-war trains, and we were running them all at the same time. Right, George?
Yeah, they're loud. They're not quiet. You can't make them quiet either.
And I don't know if you've ever done a live stream before, but we're in the studio here. We can hear each other. We have no idea what you're hearing. So thank you for helping us out here. The mic, they said, is your mic, George. That's
Where's your mic?
having some issues.
it plugged in?
Yeah.
Put it up by your neck.
Yeah, post-war. So George, we got some post-war trains here running. What do we got running?
So we got the Texas Special in the upper loop, which is my dad's. How long ago for Christmas did you get that?
No, I got that a while ago, George.
It wasn't that long ago.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
alive.
Yes, you were.
I was alive. I remember.
Yeah,
you
he was
getting
about
that.
a year old.
No, I wasn't. I remember you getting that. I was at least like 4 or 5, I think, when you got that. Because I remember getting that, and I was like, I had no clue what it was.
Right? Well, it's pretty cool.
At 4 or 5, you didn't have a lot of clue about what trains were.
I just like the
You like
trains
trains.
layout.
Yeah.
And then on the
That's
outside,
a nice 2245, I think the number is, or something.
yeah,
And
they're
that's
clean,
a
and they run well.
It's a nice little engine, you know, as we discovered when we were taking the trains out and putting them on, oiling things up, and the you know, it's amazing how a train, after it's sat for 20, 25 years or something like that and hasn't been run, how much maintenance it requires just to get them to start going.
Oh yeah, the grease gets real hard.
Oh, the grease in this. We've been playing with the 2245 shaped up fairly quickly once we got it rolling, because it's probably got the Lionel grease in, which works pretty good. But we've had a couple of other engines that we've been working on that have really been stuck up. We've got one you can hardly, when you try to spin the armature on the thing, you can't even turn the armature. So the grease going down to in the worm drive, it's on the 746 over here, you can hardly get it to move. And boy, you can just imagine how much power it would take to run it. But then you find wires, some of the soldering on some of the wires. We've got a F3 over here that we couldn't get one of the motors to run in the F3, and a couple of the wires, the solder joints were just terrible, and didn't have time to resolder them here to get a second motor running. And you know, when the trains are on show and don't get run, it's really something every time you pull out a post-war train. Well, here they go with the 2353 with the super speedliner cars. This should
Those
be
are
fun.
mine. That units are mine. I got those for my 9th birthday. That was probably one of the coolest birthday gifts I've ever gotten, because I wanted those so badly, and they were in like a really strange box, weren't they? It wasn't like a like a box you'd think they'd be in either. I remember it being in like a really weird box, and like I got it like in increments. Like I didn't get it all at once. And,
How do you get a train in increments?
Well, it's a set. I got the F units and then the speed line.
Oh, so you have the speedliner too?
Yeah.
No kidding.
My
Wonder where that
speedliners.
came from.
My speedliners are in really bad shape. They 3 out of the 4 are okay, and then one of them's got a big black paint mark on it. I don't know what happened there. But I tried to fix that, and getting the paint off was really hard. Without getting it all like messed up. So
What's this coming around? A little engine on the loose here. Wait till it comes around, guys. You'll see it. One little engine on the loose.
What? All right, everybody, it's like this. We have mic issues tonight because the trains we're running are loud. That's why we have mic issues. All right, so I'm going to step out real quick. I'm going to pass the mic over to my dad. I'm going to see if I can figure it out upstairs. But the reason why it's not crystal clear sound is because we're running loud trains. That's why, guys, okay? All right. There we go. Let's see if this works. We'll run the trains. I'm going to go upstairs. I'll see how it sounds. Here you go, Grandpa.
Okay.
Excuse us, guys.
Anyway, so I'll go get your train. That's nice shirt, George. Is that? Yeah, it is. Somerset County 4-H train run. I was there when I was at the 2018 convention. Actually, one of the pictures in the intro is from that convention. The picture of me on the Acela. But I met up with the Train Masters group, and they had a nice shirt, and so I got the shirt from them. It's really cool. But
Test.
So yeah, so let's see.
This is what you call a interesting thing. You know, guys, when you think about it, you know, all these old engines, the gearing and the grinding and everything, and the sparking that goes on in those older motors can cause so much interference running trains. I remember back in the old days with our layout, whenever we'd run this is the real old days, we'd run our layout, as soon as the trains would start running, the picture on the television would go to heck. This was before you had cable hooking up, where you just had rabbit ears TV, and you'd run the train and the television would look like the sparkles and everything like that. There must be a lot of RF interference when you run these older ones. And rest assured, they do make noise, but you know, that was half the charm of old trains. They're the old Lionel, or the grinding noise of the F3s, and as they call them, the growlers. And you know, it's like a real train. Real trains aren't quiet.
I think we got this now. All right. Let's try it with trains. Got mics. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody. We got the mic set. Got trains running. One train running. The trains are truly the feature here.
There goes the growler by. That 2353 is a growler. Then coming around on the upper level, as they says, the 2245. That's a one motor growler, but it's still a growler, but it only has one motor in it. And so it should be a little bit quieter, but this always used to be the charm of the old post-war trains. And if you think about it, with this carpet the guys have down on this layout, how much track noise you have. Can you imagine if you were to have this track right on the plywood? How much road noise and everything? It'd be like sound on a soundboard. Everybody is saying it sounds good. Love the growlers. All right, Alaska 3 Railroad.
Good. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm not mic'd up at this point. So hopefully I'll talk loud enough and you can hear what I have to say through these other guys' mics. It's hot. We've got two in-house mics, and then anyway, glad you're hanging with us. Sorry about the rough start. Welcome to another live stream. Everybody coming through the door. Happy Fast Friday. Let's welcome everybody here. We don't have any whistles on the layout, so we'll have George sing every time. All right, so we got Chicago Railroad Photography, North Country Trains, Train Finder Craig. Welcome, guys. We got Robert Edward here. Welcome. We got let's see here, Slag Catch. Speaking of Ohio Railroads, and happy Friday, everyone. Of course. Let's see here. Robert Edwards here. North Country Trains had his premiere. If you didn't get a chance to check out his premiere, go over to his channel and give that one a listen. Let's see here.
Ozark Midland Southern Railroad.
Welcome to the stream there, Ozark. Good to see you. Ted Smith. All right, just coming back from Harrison's premiere. Good show. But if I haven't seen that, I'm going to have to check that out. We got James Train. Welcome here. Our good friend Corey is here. Good to see you, Corey. Hope things are going well. I haven't seen you around in a while. Sorry about the mics again. We got Lance the Terminator in the house.
Our Trains.
Let's see. We got Conrail 8098. Stupid power supply was tripping. We had a lot of things tripping in our house, too. And we've got Bill Cabernis. You're right. We got post-war trains running here.
Did we do Slide Cat?
I'm not sure if we got Slide Cat, but hey, Slide Cat, welcome to the stream.
Conrail 8098 we didn't get.
So, Conrail 8098, we better get in because he'll say I'm ignoring him if I don't.
You're ignored.
I'm an ignore. Chicago Railroad Photography in the house. Good to see you. Sorry about that, Mike, again. We got Steamhead in the house. Let's see. Length of Verminator says, Wally, I left you some rare kelp, and the Wally needs your kelp channel in the Discord server. George said he'd deliver it to you. Hope you enjoy it. All right.
Hey, Chris Lambert, thanks for saying I look great. You're about the only one that has said that to me in a long time. So thank you for telling me I look great.
Are you sure he wasn't talking about this George looking
No,
great?
no, I look good.
Yeah, I'm 16 years old. I'm an old guy.
Oh,
The school system.
See
Public school system.
See what we old men have to put up with. We're supposed to understand the youth of today, all right? I understand the youth of today. He likes to acquire my trains.
I like to run your train.
If there are any of you guys
and acquire.
If there are any of you guys that are not married yet or are married and you name your son with the same name as you, don't ever buy a ticket for a train at an auction. You're liable.
Put your name on it. And not show up. You got to get it all up. See, this is what I do for a living. See, you left out a lot of keys there.
Listen.
You bought a ticket for an auction. You put his name on it.
No.
And you weren't there to claim your prize.
No, the truth of the matter is, you buy the ticket, you put them in there, and you put it there, and need not.
Somehow a ticket with my name got it.
All right. So here's how it went. We were at a Midwest Division. I'm going to back up even a little bit more. Midwest Division always has different fundraisers that we're doing. Midwest Division and the Train Collectors Association. And one of the fundraisers that we did is we did a raffle for a Northern Pacific GP9 Legacy unit. Beautiful unit. We run it from time to time here on the screen. And we sold tickets, I want to say, for $10 or $20 a piece. And I bought a couple. Grandpa bought a couple. And you had to put your name on the ticket.
And the Tooth Fairy put a couple with my name in there.
Tooth Fairy put a couple on the name. So anyway,
Tooth Fairy.
We had our drawing at the big meet that we always have in March. We always have a big meet in March. We had a drawing. And
Grandpa is always in Florida.
And he wasn't there. He was in Florida. So here's how it works, right? They write a name on the back. And George was about 8 or 9 years old. And they pulled the name, and they said, the winner of the raffle is George Wooderick. And his eyes light up. Like, I won! And he ran up there, and he was so excited, and it was in front of all of these train guys. Who knew, George?
The truth be known, if they'd asked for the other half of the ticket, it resided in my wallet.
It wasn't that.
It resided in my wallet.
He ran up there and he was so excited. Nobody wanted to tell this poor little kid that was so excited about winning a train. No, your grandpa won this, not you. So I think I don't remember who it was. It might have been Bill. He had the train, just turned it, gave it to him. Like, I won, Papa, I won. And then
the Tooth Fairy got me a lucky ticket.
The Tooth Fairy got him a lucky ticket.
George, they're talking about, that's earlier stuff, though, all those comments.
Yep.
It's all early. Well, anyway, truth be known, the train unfortunately resides here. And truth be known, I will demand that whenever the George Wooderick name on the back of the ticket comes up, that the George Wooderick that gets it has the other half of with the numbers on it.
The Tooth Fairy still has my other half.
Tooth Fairy, Schmooth Fairy. I'll tell you what. It's a beautiful. Bill Cole will probably agree with me because I know he bought a lot of tickets for that engine. So did I. But it's residing in a good home. It's a really nice engine.
Oh yeah, it's one of our best runners.
It is. So I'm going to roll through these here and welcome everybody into the stream. I'm going to roll through it, and I'm looking at you at Conrail 8098. If I miss your comments, I'm sorry. I've just got to get right up to the front.
He's got other comments.
Yeah, I've got to get up to the front of the screen. So I'm not ignoring you. If you have a pertinent comment that you want me to look at, just type it up there again. So, all right. So again, sorry about the mics, everybody. We got let's see, Randall Ellison. Good to see you in the house. Did I say Isaiah Hawkins? We got Isaiah Hawkins here. Always good to see you.
T4.
T4 in the house. Good to see you. Welcome to Postwar Friday night. Welcome to the stream. And all right, everyone's who else we got here?
Alaska 3 Railroad. Welcome to the stream. Bob's O-Gauge Trains.
Bob's O-Gauge Trains in the house.
It's not H-O gauge.
It's O-Gauge.
It's not N-Gauge.
It's O-Gauge.
It's O-Gauge.
It's O-Gauge. Alaska 3 Railroad in the house. Let's see here. Robert Edwards in the house. Everybody's trying to help us get on the same page with the audio. Hopefully we're in sync with the audio. We're probably not getting me as well, just because I'm not mic'd up like these guys. Let's see here. Who else we got hanging out with us this evening? Did we get Bilko?
No.
All right. Bilko's in the house.
JC Trains.
JC Trains is here. Welcome to the stream.
Blank the Verminator. You didn't get him.
Yep. Time Rail 8098 says he has a 1954 or 2037 set.
Those are the ones we race.
Yeah, we love the race of 2037.
They go fast.
They go fast.
Trainman Dan, welcome to the stream.
So Trainman Dan says if I ever got a post-war engine, I'd get the old Santa Fe F3s. Well, Trainman Dan, that's a good place to start. I'm telling you, post-war engines and post-war trains have a unique beauty and a unique quality to them that we love. Yep, exactly, Isaiah. Isaiah was scooped me on that one. Let's see here. The train's running. We can still hear it crystal clear. Great. Who else we got here? Matthews O-Scale Trains in the house. Good evening. Let's see here. Ours Train says you're doing pretty good. I wish you could have made it to York. We wish you could have seen you there. We had a good time at York, didn't we, guys?
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, that was so
Yes,
cool.
we did. The repercussions are being felt today, even because the credit card bills are coming in.
Oh, man, yeah. Just coming back.
I just received a credit card bill with a mysterious charge on it. I'm wondering what it might be.
Christmas time.
You never can tell.
Christmas time. You never know. Aurora Shea's in the house. Good to see Aurora Shea. Let's see here. Train Finder says Tooth Fairy, Schmooth Fairy. Vincent Van Pappelgin is in the house. How you doing, Vincent? Good to see you here. Let's see. Radar Diddy's in the house. Happy Fast Friday. Glad we finally got our audio kinks worked out. Our train says I might want to ask Mr. Claus for a new mic. That was my birthday present. I don't know what's up with the lanyard on that one, but like I said, if you do a live stream, it's hard because you never know. I can hear myself, but you never know what everybody else can hear it. So yeah. You know what James Train says, George? I like this.
What?
When you're running post-war chains, what can you say? That's ISEW. That's ISEW. You got it.
Right. I know.
Oh, gosh. See, Anthony Spirico says, hey, guys, if you're running a post-war, I hope you will run a Santa Fe 2343 and a GG1. Anthony, well, you're in luck. We don't have a 2343 out. We got a 2353. As you can see, that's going around the track right here, right now. And that's where the set of super speed line is. So we got that one. Yep, never any traction tires on post-war trains. Oh, well, we got our man, Devon McKenzie in the house. Good to see you, Devon. Great to hear you here. We got, I think I already said this one, but Chicago Railroad Photography in the house.
Nice.
And I think I might...
Radar Diddy?
I don't know if we got Radar Diddy, but hey, always good to have Radar Diddy in the house. Yeah, so all right. We're in sync now, everybody. I've welcomed everybody to the stream. If I missed you, I apologize. I think we got our audio all set and rock and roll, man, rock and roll. So Postwar Trains. Grandpa, this is your shtick right here. Tell the people who are just joining us who might not know what Postwar Trains. Why don't you tell them a little bit about what Postwar Trains are?
This is everybody post-war. Okay, most of you don't realize there was a big war from 1939 to 1945, and that's World War II, and that's when I was born, and some of the oldest guys that are collecting trains were born. Now, anything made by the Lionel Corporation after 1945 is considered a post-war train. For the most part, Lionel and American Flyer, the two major train marks, they all shut down their train making during the war because they were making some essential items. Like you can find Navy binnacles that were in the ships that have the Lionel stick plate on them. I was on years ago, I got on an old Victory ship that was, I think it's one out in San Francisco that was on display. And I went up into the wheelhouse and the binnacle, which is where they have the things in the compass that is made by Lionel. So the Lionel, all the train companies were putting out for the war effort, and they had very little time for trains. However, every now and then they did sell some trains, and they were trains that were made prior to the war, but sometimes they put some things on it. I was fortunate enough to get my first train in 1946. It had a pre-war engine with a post-war tender and couplers and things like that. So anything made after 1946 is considered in the Lionel world, in the American Flyer world, as a post-war train.
So to summarize, anything made between 1945 and 1969 is a post-war train.
Correct.
All right. So that's the post-war era, 1945 to 1969. And what are some of your favorite post-war trains, George?
Well, my favorite post-war trains are, I like the 773.
Oh, the Hudson. We got one of those out there on tonight.
Yeah. I also like the Santa Fe F units, the 2353s.
2353, 2343, 2383. There's a bunch of different models of those.
Right.
Basically any F unit made in the post-war era. I like those.
F units are certainly neat. And for those of you who don't know what an F unit is, George, why don't you describe what an F unit is?
An F unit is the kind of streamlined locomotives we're running right now. They kind of look like the front of them look like they look like bullets, and they're really cool. And Lionel made a lot of them with different kind of road names on them. So the most popular ones are the Santa Fe and the New York Central ones. And then they made a bunch of other ones, such as the Texas Special one. They made an Illinois Central one, Wabash, a whole bunch of other ones. But
Canadian Pacific is probably the rarest,
Canadian
right,
Pacific
Grandpa?
is the hardest one to find, or some the variation ones like the Milwaukee Road, where you have both engines have a yellow stripe in the top. That's a very hard one to find.
Right.
Milwaukee Road engine. But the Canadian Pacific 2373, that's the number, I think. The Canadian Pacific F3s are considered the hardest to find of the Lionel thing, which, if it's the hardest to find, that tells you two things. One, that it was the most expensive or the least popular. And why the Canadian Pacific would be the least popular, I can't imagine, because it's a beautiful engine with it, and it came out in these really beautiful sets of Vistadome cars. It was the only set that had all Vistadomes except for the tail car. And then they came out with two extra Pullmans to go by. So if you have a post-war 2373 Canadian Pacific with the three Vistadome Skyline 500 cars and the two Manor Pullman cars and the Skyline observation car, you got yourself a really beautiful train set, right? I know the one I have. We bought the engines. We found the engines, which were absolutely great. Then I kept searching, and I finally pieced together all the cars. And I have a set I'm truly proud of. And if you're looking for a train set to search, you can buy that. Or
if you have a lot of money and you're looking for a train set,
there you go. You gotta have a lot of money.
However, if you don't have a lot of money and you don't want to search it out, Lionel did repeat that train set. I want to say,
1973, I think they had the surface station set.
That was just the engines, not a passenger set,
right,
and that was a freight set. Mm-hmm. And then I think it was around 2000.
Yep, they had the post-war celebration.
Celebration set, which has all the same cars with a command control
set in a B unit and everything like that. B unit and an A unit and sound cars. It's actually got 7 cars for that set. I had to have one of those too.
Right. Well, so speaking of the things that you have to have, Graham, what are some of your favorite post-war trains?
Oh, my all-time favorite, I guess, of the post-war story everybody likes to hear. When I was a little guy, I used to go downtown. Those were in the days when you could turn your 11-year-old son loose, give him a streetcar token, and send him down into the loop. And I used to go down and go to the big department stores on State Street in Chicago, that great street. There was a line of department stores, and every one of them had Lionel train layouts or American Flyer layouts. So it was like going in a wonderland. And there was a little store called Vaughn's Seed Store on Randolph Street, and they had a layout. And I remember, I believe it's 1953 or 1954, so I'm about 11 years old when the 2341, I believe that's the number, Lackawanna Fairbanks Morris engines came out, and they had one of those running around on their demonstration layout. And I always wanted one of those. I never got one as a kid. I didn't have a lot of trains when I was a kid, but I always wanted those. And I got to tell you a little story about how I finally got those. When I first got back into it, when Wally and his brother were just little tykes, and we were starting to decide, okay, we're going to go from HO into Lionel. My wife and I went to a train show in Kane County fairgrounds here in Illinois, not too far from our house. And we were walking around and looking at trains, and we stopped by a table, and there was a Lackawanna, gray roof Lackawanna, beautiful one with a box and that. And I told my wife, I said, you know, that's the train I always wanted as a kid and never got, and everything like that. And lo and behold, my wife says, I'll buy it for you. So she bought me my Lackawanna. That's the kind of lady I'm married to. And she's tolerated the expansion of the world into trains very nicely. But I finally got the train that I always wanted as a younger person. I don't know whether that's my favorite train for sure, but it's sure, other than my very first train, which is a little 1666. They all mean a lot to me, all the ones I have.
So, all right, here's a question that's come up. The question is, if there's an American Flyer item that you've always wanted to get, even if you're a Lionel buff, what would it be?
Oh,
I know what mine would be.
yeah, I think I know what mine would be too.
All right, answer.
I would like to. I've got 2 of them. I 2 that I'd like. I would like the American Flyer 484 Northern, because Lionel never made anything like that.
Right, that's a good one.
The other one I would like is the American Flyer PAs in the Northern Pacific paint job, the North Coast Limited.
See, that's a good one. And I was going to kind of go along those same lines. I think I'm going to go against a lot of O-gauge railroaders right here, but I think the most beautiful passenger set ever made in any scale.
I know what he's going to say.
The Missouri Pacific.
Yes, the Eagle.
The Missouri Pacific Eagle made by American Flyer.
Yes.
That is the most beautiful set. Bar none. Mic drop, everything like that.
As you know, the funny thing is, those of us that love trains, Silver Bullet, I like that. You know, American Flyer had those 3 absolutely lights out passenger sets. They had the Union Pacific. I think
that one too.
Yeah,
Yes.
Union Pacific,
Have
just
you
like
seen that one, George?
PAs.
At Mr. Netti's house, right?
I ran it.
Yeah, the Union Pacific, the Missouri Pacific Eagle, and the Northern Pacific North Coast Limited. Those Lionel didn't have any painted passenger car train sets like that, and those paint jobs on those 3 sets were lights out authentic. They weren't somebody. Those are what the actual trains looked like, and so those are 3 wonderful American Flyer sets. And American Flyer is nice, but you know, when you get what you pay for. When you need 3 rails, you got to have 3 rails.
Right.
You know?
The Flyer 572 Northern is pretty awesome.
That's
Grandpa's got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a Northern, and I got a 3-rail Northern in O gauge. We had it on the show not a few years
about a couple
months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had I have 2 of those American Flyer pre-war 3-rail 3/16 true scale, they called that. They made them just before World War II. I have a Hudson set, and I have it was the most expensive one they made. It's that 484, and it had 4 green steel metal passenger cars. So it was the old time heavyweight passenger cars. It is the one set I have is absolutely gorgeous, and I have a 37 model of the Talking Stations, which is like new, and I have some S gauge American Flyer. I have 3 Hudson sets and a CNO 624 switch engine. They're all hidden away somewhere. I wish I had room to put them out there because they're nice trains.
And I tell you what, between those old American Flyer ones like that or the Postwar Lionel like we're featuring tonight, they all have this certain charm, don't they?
Yes.
Don't they, George?
Yeah.
So you kind of like, that's what you first started with. Your first engine was a Postwar engine, George, right?
Yeah, it's a Lionel 624, CNO 624.
And what is a 624, George?
It's a NW2, CNO NW2, which is switcher.
Switcher, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And how about you, Grandpa? What was your first one?
My first train was a Lionel 262 1666 set with it. 166WX, I think it is, tender, and a Sunoco tank car, a black Pennsylvania shorty gondola, and a little red caboose. And then my next car that was added was a Pennsylvania double door auto box car with the AB brake valve underneath it that came out in like 40. So how about that one?
That's a good one. That's a good one. See, I'm just realizing something. This is all right. This is kind of strange. First train post-war. First train post-war. Well, here's the only thing you could get. I gave you pre-war.
Yeah.
My first train, NPC.
What was your first train, Wally?
NPC. Mine was an Amtrak Lakeshore Limited.
Yes.
Alco.
Yep.
Pulling 3027 passenger cars.
Was that your favorite set? Did you run that all the time?
Yeah, I ran that thing like crazy, and I got the B unit for it. I got some additional cars. Whenever I have we go to a train show, and Grandpa and I would see those cars, he'd get one for me. It was great.
The first train has certain romance about it, and you know there's all. You know what's neat is all these trains. There's no bad trains.
I agree. I agree. And so my question out there for everybody watching, so we talked a little bit about American Flyer, your favorite American Flyer trains. How about Lionel, your favorite post-war Lionel trains? Or if you don't know, throw something out there. We've got a lot here in our house. We're running a couple tonight. Like I said, right off screen, we've got a Hudson pulling some heavyweight Madison cars. We'll get rolling on here. Is that on? Nope, close to on. What are some of your favorite ones there? No, I'm just asking the guys out there. So Corey says, at GFW Trains for each of you, what is your picks for trains that run under the Christmas tree?
The big boy.
Big boy. They have big curves for a big boy.
Yeah.
I still got to put up the Christmas layout.
I know. I've been waiting for it all week.
I don't think
George would always get that going first thing.
I got been busy with
school.
Chemistry sucks.
It's how.
Oh wait, Miss Pam watches the streams. Never mind. I love chemistry, Miss Pam.
He's learning how to make smoke fluid in the chemistry.
Right.
George's bottled smoke fluid.
Recognize these?
If it doesn't smoke, you can drink it.
What's combusting in that smoke fluid, George?
Oh, I don't know.
That's not Bart's smoke fluid.
It's why I'm getting a C in chemistry.
We just hit something over there.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Just hit something. While George is fixing that over there, looks like hit
the caboose.
Oh, we had a caboose come off. Oh, this is
our perfect operation now down the stream.
Perfect. He's got a work train set there with a crane on it. I want to see him re-rail everything with a crane.
That
there's
might take a while, Grandpa.
yeah, there's a picture on the internet of a guy on the Lionel Railroaders or something like that, where there's a picture of that was taken of an accident with a crane fixing the accident, and the guy's got his model train picture with a Lionel operating crane car sitting there and fixing the trains. He calls it a reenactment of that wreck. It's pretty neat, I thought.
That is good. So Joe Hudson says his favorite post-war engine is the Seaboard 6250.
Oh, we got a bunch of them, don't
That's a good one. I love the 6250. My favorite post-war train to operate, I think, because it's so flawless, are NW2 switchers. And probably my favorite and the best paint job of all the NW2s is that
6250.
6250.
You know, they're what's interesting about the 6250 is most people don't realize how many variations of that engine there are. You have the decal version with the Seaboard lettering and decal. You have the wide stamp, rubber stamp version of it. Then there's a real narrow rubber stamp version that only comes with one set. And I've got another weird one, but I have a Seaboard, and it looks like everything was done at the factory. It's actually got a bell in it, which is the Seaboards didn't have a bell in it. That was reserved for the 622 and the 6220, which are black Santa Fe's. But I've got one, and it doesn't look like it was installed by somebody maybe other than the factory. So, but those three versions are, if you like Seaboards, it's to collect one. The one with the narrow stamping, rubber stamping, is the real hard one to find. The way I got mine was I bought it in a set that comes with. That's the only place where I know they came from. I had a good friend of mine that offered to sell me a set, and I bought it.
Cool. Well, Train Finder also likes his post-war, and his favorite is the Lionel quadruple zero prototype switchers. Also Lionel.
Oh, the New York Central one, right?
Yeah, you got that one. That one's a pretty cool one.
The one that didn't exist.
Yep. Let's see here. Radar Diddy says his favorite post-war is a 2020 steam turbine from 1946. We had a steam turbine out. In fact, it's out here somewhere.
It's back in the box right now.
Oh, we put it back in the box. We might unbox that later. We were trying to get that one running, but there were some issues with the coupler and it releasing the cars on that one.
Yeah, the rivet on the tender coupler is loose, so the coupler bounces up and down and lets the cars go if there's any little bit of a slacking in it.
So, all right, here's what we got. So Engineer 6325 says, I have a lot of too many post-war favorites, but I adore the 746 Northern and the Jersey Central Trainmaster and the full. He's got good taste. The full Canadian Pacific set. Well, you know what we got over here? We got a treat for you, because we're going to be unboxing. Oh, actually, it's already unboxed. This is one of them that we were going to run tonight. Why don't you hand that one over to George? We're going to run this one tonight, but the grease in that one it's all gummed up. So this one's a 746. The J is it's so beautiful. We're so lucky we got to see it when we were out there at York. It's not a 611, but this is a 611's brother, 746. Now, for those of you who don't know, this post-war piece was made in 1957, and I think it was made a couple years after that, 57 through 60, if I'm not mistaken. And the first issues of the 746 that came out had a tender, and the stripe went all the way down to tender. So that one's called the long stripe.
I'll get the tender out.
All right. He's going to go grab the tender. That one's called the long stripe. And this one isn't a long stripe. After that first strand was made, they had the tender had a shorter stripe on it. And they call that a short stripe. And that one's a little bit more common. But it's a very neat and desirable piece. And we were hoping to run this one tonight.
Yeah, it's all locked up though.
It is locked up. That's what happens when you let your train set. We need to run that around a little bit more. T4 says my first Lionel was post-war New York Central AA set, but my favorite is the original Santa Fe and So you know NW or SW
Here, I'll trade you.
switchers. All right, so this is what I mean about that 746 tender. The long stripe, it goes all the way to the ends of the tender, where this one, it doesn't go all the way. So they call this one the short stripe.
Another little difference is the number on the side of the tender. The long stripe doesn't have the little number on the side of the tender. In yellow, you can see it very faintly in the picture. Some 46W. That's one thing that makes the short stripe actually kind of neat with that. But that's a real nice tender.
Yeah.
Right. So Conrail 89098 says emergency broadcast. BNSF train is rear-ended an empty coal train near Omaha, Nebraska, a few hours ago. So don't go driving any of your trains around there. All right, George?
All right.
All right. So Ozark Midland Southern says my first train was a Milwaukee Road 2338 set sold by Sears in 1956. In fact, we have do you have it out here? No, it's upstairs. We've got a 2338 that we were going to run tonight too. If we get around to that, we may do that, or we may just hold that one off. We got so many post-war trains. I think we will do this for a couple of. Now that we got the sound all worked out, I think we're going to do some cool post-war running in the future because you know what? We're bringing post-war back, George. Yeah, it's time to drum up some post-war interest. Matthews O-scale trains is my favorite post-war engine is a 675.
Nice little engine.
Yeah.
Very, very popular.
So what is a 675?
It's a 264.
Okay.
And it's Lionel's attempt at making a K5 or K4, where American Flyer made one that's exactly right. Lionel kind of put the wheels backwards.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, Lionel. It's a 462. I believe the real K4. That's Pennsylvania Railroad. Lionel put the headlight up at the top like the Flyer did, but then they put a 264 rather than the opposite. So that's a Lionel took a little liberties with it. But they called it a K4 too, but it really wasn't.
Right. The train finder Craig likes the 773 Hudson.
Yeah,
we've got a 773. We've got the 64 version of that.
Still around yet.
So that for those of you who don't know, Lionel came out with two in the post-war era. They came out with they came out with one semi-scale Hudson, but they came out with two different times. They came out with it once in 1950 and then once in 1964. And the one in 1950, the boilers in the engine are pretty much exactly the same. There's a few little differences between the 50 boiler and the 64 boiler, but they're pretty much the same. But what Lionel did do was that Lionel put the 64 Hudson with a different tender than the 50 Hudson. The 50 Hudson got a beautiful big tender. And when we run the 64 Hudson, in fact, let's run that 64 or the Hudson now, George. See if you can get that one out. The 64 Hudson has a smaller tender, a plastic tender, 4-wheel trucks. It's not the greatest tender in the world. And to make matters worse, the Hudson was the New York Central's bell cow engine, the best engine. Some people say the best steam engine that they had in their fleet. Lionel came out with it in 1964. Do you know what it said on the tender?
We'll show you in a minute. Stand by.
Yeah. That was the biggest.
What an insult.
That is probably the biggest.
Insult to a railroad in the world.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's everybody. So stand by. We'll see it coming, and you'll see. And place your bets as to what it's going to be. But it's really something. That set, incidentally, and Wally's Rights came out in 64, and I think they had some more in 65 because they had to make a change of the tender. So anyway, the 64 Hudson set came out. It was a really the most expensive set they had ever made. They put a ZW transformer, and they put this. They've been not making nothing at that end of the time. They pretty much ceased making anything. They had the Berkshire, they had the Santa Fe F3, and they just weren't making anything. A lot of plastic trains. And all of a sudden, here they come out in 64 with a remake of the 1950 semi-scale Hudson, the dream of everybody to own. But they had it out as a set. I think it was $100 list price or something like that, more than $100. Had a ZW transformer and the engines. And do I hear a whistle of a ZW of a 773?
That's how you ZW. That's
Yeah.
how you ZW. And you know what? Here we got it. Username 661. Got it right here. When it comes around, you'll see this. On the Hudson, which was the New York Central main engine, Pennsylvania on the tender. We put Pennsylvania on the tender.
Wait, stop.
Here it comes.
Here she comes.
And that's a set of Madison cars behind it. They didn't actually come together like that as a set, but that's a neat way to run it. I think, anyhow.
I think it's such a neat. The first, when I got back into train collecting, my dream was to get a Hudson, a post-war Hudson, 1950. I could not find one to save my soul. So we went out to York, and there was a 1960, I think it's the 65 model, because it's got the New York Central tender. In 1965, oh, and another thing about the tender we'll tell you about in a minute, which is really strange, is the 1965 set came with a proper New York Central tender. But you know something? There's a water scoop they used for picking up water in the trough for the tender. They'd lower the scoop as they go through these trenches and refill the tender that way. They put the water scoop on backwards. Can you believe that? But I got one at York. It was kind of interesting. The man had it for sale. He wanted $600. I think it was $600 or $650. He had the 64 Hudson, which was almost brand new. I don't think it had ever run.
George, I tried to take
It's
up last night. But
it's the shoes on the yeah, and he had three of the heavyweight passenger cars that had been redone by a fellow named Kramer, who was famous for his restoration of train cars.
be right back, Grandpa.
Sure, I'll keep talking. And the back in the 70s, train didn't ever look like Lionel was ever going to make trains like that. And so many of the Bakelite Madison cars, you'd find them and there wasn't any paint on them. So a lot of people got to be real good at restoring them. And so my first set of Madison cars were those restored by this fella Kramer. And I got a little identity tag on them. But the guy wouldn't sell me that train set at York. Would not sell it to me. And so I left him my phone number and that. It was almost a year later, I get a call from the guy and he says, "Do you still want the train?" And I says, "Yeah." He says, "Well, will you pay for the postage in addition to the $600 to send it me?" And I said, "Sure, I will." So that's how I got my first Hudson. And the Hudson, it's been sitting on my show-off area ever since then. And beautiful train. Then I was very lucky to get my second one. I had a little ad in the community shopper, and the guy called me up and he said, "Do you buy trains?" And I says, "Yeah, I do." And he says, I saw your ad. And he says, "I've got a train I'd like to sell you." And so I said, "Well, come over to my house. This is where I live." So he comes over and he comes in and he says, "Well, how much? This is the train. How much will you give me for it?" And he had a little plastic American Flyer Atlantic, which at the time people were paying $15 to buy. You could buy them anywhere at the train shows. American Flyer is the least expensive thing they had. So I says, "Okay, I'll give you the $15 for the train. I don't collect American Flyers per se, but I'll thank you for bringing it over to me." And he said, "Well, that's okay." And he says, "I got another train at home that runs on 3-rail track. Do you collect that?" And I'm sitting there Now he's into the mother load. And so I says, well, what's it like? He says, it's a big black engine. Well, immediately when your people would tell you how they have a black engine and it's big, you immediately would think, okay, you got an engine, you got a junior Hudson or something like that, like a 2046 or a 665. And so I go down the basement and I bring up a Hudson, and he says, um, it's bigger than that. And I says, oh really? And I says, well, so I went down and I got a 726 Berkshire that I had. I says, that is it bigger than that? He says, that's got too many wheels, but yes, it's bigger than that. And I'm sitting there, I wonder what this is he has. He says, well, I'm going to go home and I'll bring it back. Well, I don't know anything about where he lives or anything like that. And he comes back to the house, and this engine is wrapped up in Irish linen, a cloth. And he unwraps it in front of me, and there's this absolutely perfect 1950 Hudson. And I'm sitting there, oh my goodness gracious sakes. And I says, I'd love to buy this from you. And he says, well, what's it worth? And I said, as many of you who collect trains know, the Greenberg company produced a pretty accurate price guide. And I says, I'm going to open the book. This is a 1957 73 Hudson. And I'm going to open the book, and I'm going to look at engine in excellent condition, and I'll pay you what that is. So we opened it up, and there's the price on it. And I says, is that acceptable? And he says, well, I have to go home and I have to check with my wife. Now, I still have no idea where this person lives. I don't have his phone number or anything like that. And so he says, calls me back on the phone. He says, my wife says to sell it. And so I'd like to sell it. Can you come over to my house? Well, it turns out the man lives about a mile and a half from me. And I go over to his house and I go in, and there he has not only the engine, he's got the set box, he's got a 345 switch tower and some track and everything, but he's got the set box and the boxes. And I said, well, do you want to sell the whole train set, everything? And he says, no, I just want to sell the engine. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, I'd like to get the whole freight set. And so he sells me the Hudson, and that's that. So about a year later, he calls me on the phone, maybe even more than a year, and he says, are you still interested in that train set, the rest of the train I had? I says, yeah. And he says, well, come on over and I'll sell it to you for $100. So I go over and I give him $100 for the rest of the train and the switch tower. And so now I have the set box is pretty rare box. It's not the greatest condition, but it's the freight set box, which is much harder to find than the passenger set. But that's how I got my 1950 post-war Hudson. Now, go ahead.
Changing gears a little bit, while his grandpa had a chance to talk a little bit about his pickups in the train world, I went back into the archives of the GFW Trains dungeon and pulled out a couple of the favorites that people had. So we'll start with this one. George, why don't you grab that Seaboard over there? So someone, I believe, said that the 6250 was their favorite right there. Fingers, George, fingers.
Yeah, don't touch the. Is that?
No, that one's Silk Street.
No,
right
rubber stamp.
Rubber stamp, right.
Yeah, don't touch the Seaboard, George.
So anyway, there's our 62 or a 6250 that we've got. That one's a runner. That one's actually one that we raced when we did the train racing.
Did you
George would always look at this when we were growing up, or when he was growing up, and it didn't have a lantern. He says, "Seaboard's only got one eye."
One eye.
Seaboard's only got one eye pop up. So that one's a Seaboard. And I believe that Ozark, Midland Southern, said that one of his favorites was a Jeep. So George, why don't you go down by your knee down there? Nope. Get the one underneath, and I believe somebody else. I don't remember who said it was. Who they
That's
said
not
it
the
was.
right one.
Want me to open it?
Hold that one.
Hold
on.
it. This is a 2328 Burlington Jeep.
And somebody said that this one was their favorite. So speaking of Jeeps, yep, that one is Seaboard's a pirate. Arr!
Yeah. One-eyed pirate down on the Seaboard line.
So this one's an original box too, I think. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I think George got this one at a TCA meet.
Who knows? This is a nice one.
If you look in the one of my earlier videos, they say this is the third rarest in the world.
Third rarest in the world, right there.
Actually, if you're looking at it, people, that is a very nice example. That's the luminescent version, isn't it?
Yeah, the orange really is.
Yeah, this is the early version of this. Now in that first year where they came out, they have a real rare one. Where it shows where George, hold it up there. See where the Milwaukee Road is there on this? Okay, right there. It comes through all in orange, and you have the Milwaukee Road Herald in orange. They call that the solid stripe Jeep. That came out first. Then they started saying, okay, they would paint them like this because it was harder to mask, and then the light would shine through the bottom like a pumpkin, and they decided they didn't want to do that, so they started painting the inside of the cap, the plastic, black, so that the light would not shine through.
You want to run that one and take off the Texas Specials, George?
Sure.
All right.
Well, you got to remember, is that one run good?
I think so.
Here we go, another hopeful.
We'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, the 2338. Gosh, we have so many of them, don't we? Kind of have an affinity.
I love that because we lived on the Milwaukee Road, so that's
Right.
one of the reasons why I like it
Right.
so much. Living on the Milwaukee Road. So you got another one here that somebody said was one of their favorites. There we go, Santa Fe.
623.
623 there, and these are all finds from the Train Collectors Association Midwest Division train shows. That was another good deal at Georgette. I think you got that one right before.
Is that one mine? I thought mine was upstairs.
I think that one's yours.
Oh,
Who knows?
$34.
$34 right there.
It says right there, give it to the poor little needy kid.
This is the one without the unit.
The unit fell out.
That's right. It's
The unit's somewhere down here.
Yeah.
there is no E unit on this thing, so it only goes forward fast. This is and there's so many different versions of this too. Am I right?
Yeah.
Guys?
Oh yeah. There's the GM sometimes is here. GM is sometimes here. This one, the 6220 or the 622 had numbers up here.
Right.
Actually, I think that the 623,
622 had
the 623 just has this version.
right.
The 622 and 6220 had the different versions.
Doesn't the 623 have a different on the stanchions?
Right.
That's like the 624 has the different stanchions too.
Right.
But these are one of the best running engines you'll ever find that Lionel ever made. And they pull pretty well too, especially if you're pulling the new modern cars. You can pull a ton of trains with these. They are, and they're always able to find. They made so many of them that you can always find these if you're going to a train meeting. You want ones that look good, and you want a post-war engine it's really dependable. They're almost, you can almost beat these things up and they still run. That's what they say about post-war trains.
So-
We have.
So the funny thing about this is, I bet the thing that everybody never really picked up on, and I get why, but the true bread and butter of the GFW Trains collection is post-war trains. That's our bread and butter. Somebody else said that they liked. Let's see here. So we've got Split Rock says his favorite was Northern Pacific 44-ton center cab. And somebody else said their favorite was the Lehigh Valley. Why don't you grab that out of there, Grandpa? While he's doing that, talking about that, let me see what I can find from the DFW Trains archive.
George, the SW is super reliable. Yeah, it is. It takes a beating, keeps on
Ticking.
ticking, yeah.
Keeps on clicking.
It takes a licking, keeps on ticking, right?
Right. Now, these are called 44 tonners. You know, what's really fantastic. These are almost as big as F3s. The real 44 ton switcher is a little tiny thing. Very, very tiny. Now, these 44 ton, this is one of the nicest examples of a
That one's
44
grandma's, isn't
ton.
it?
Huh?
Is that one grandma's?
No,
Grandma's got one, doesn't she?
it's mine.
We
She
know.
gave it to me, but that's not it.
No, my grandma doesn't have one. This is Wally's. I know because I acquired it for him. We have our 44 ton collection is kind of split between my house and his house. He has the Lehigh Valleys. There's a solid red Lehigh Valley. There's this one, which is pretty rare. He has the other. George has got it here. That's the Northern Pacific Lehigh Valley in black and gold, black and yellow. Then there is you have the silver Burlington, and then you have the blue and yellow Baltimore and Ohio, which I have, those two. And they're a neat little, if you're looking at a train, things to collect in post-war, and you don't want to spend the king's ransom and you want to collect all of them. I don't think there are any variations to these, but collecting all 5 of them and getting nice ones, it's not that hard. They're pretty nice engines. This is a really nice version of the center black 44 tonner here. And that's a nice version of the NP one. So this is something that if somebody's wanting to collect post-war engines and you don't want to spend the king's ransom, the little NW switcher and these are good items to get into. And these run pretty good. There's not as good a puller as the Seaboard, but it's a nice engine, and we like them.
So, all right. So going back up here, I think that I saw. Let's see here. So keep going like that. Yeah, and like we were saying, the NWQs are really, really reliable. Conrail's clocking that he's got a Hudson, 220 Hudson, and 221 Hudson.
I got a Dreyfus Hudson.
Ooh.
It's not here. I have one.
Right. I saw one thing that I wanted to
Comment on.
Yeah,
there's the 44 tonner that shrank there.
hold on. Let's see, there's the Jeep. Let's see that Seaboard.
Oh, shoot!
What happened? The bridge went up. Can you believe that?
I didn't do it.
What we have, gentlemen, is the colossal. Look between us, right here. Do you see the famous lift bridge up? That means somewhere, somebody, I don't know, it could possibly, there's only one person been walking around.
I didn't touch it.
I didn't do it, honest. I didn't.
They did that the other day too. I don't know what happened.
Oh my goodness. That's
So Ozark and Midland Southern Railway says the Santa Fe is nice, but I really like the C&O model. But we kind of like the C&O model around here too.
624, yeah.
So let me see what I got. I went and
are
pulled this one out.
we okay?
Let's see. Here we got. Let me see. I kind of like that 624. Let me see. Just a little bit. I think and I've got, yeah. So
See,
624, I might have like a little
collection of them.
collection of those.
I got one.
Yep, you got one there too.
We got. These are veterans of the train racing. Is it okay, George?
Yep. This is broke.
The what's broke?
The caboose broke.
Oh, man. It's not going down.
Uh-oh.
We'll have to fix that later. We'll have to fix that later.
Uh-oh. All right.
I bet you if we went back on the stream and rolled through that, we would probably be able to see a ghost go back there. Flip up that switch. Switch is right there. See, right there's the switch. Roll back in there and so I know I agree. Those 44 tonners are fun engines. This is a good question that Trainman Dan's asking. Why do all the post-war engines have different numbers on them, Dad?
Well, Lionel had decided to series them, and the only way they can series them is in different numbers. Why they numbered them what they did is anybody's guess. I really don't know. I'm sure there's some of the real old-time collectors that really get into this more than anybody else. They can tell you why they numbered them the way they did. I sure don't know how this Lionel decided to number them. I know they at one time they were running O gauge engines with three numbers and 027 engines with 4 numbers. Like you'll find in the junior Hudsons, you'll find a 665, and that's the same as the 2065. And then you'll have the other one that 646, and that's a 2046. Same engine, just where they came in O gauge set and one came in an 027 set. And I don't know why in the 624 switchers they went from a 622 to a 6220. Those two are the same engine. They're bell ringers, Santa Fe's. Then they went to the 623s, which are the all black Santa Fe's. The 624, which is the blue and yellow C&O. And then they went to the 6250, 4-digit number for probably the prettiest one they ever made, which is the Seaboard. And I don't know if it's because maybe they put the Seaboard engines in an 027 set. That could be the possibility there. I don't know why they put the 44 tonners with the 3-digit numbers, because all of those were in 027 sets. And if they weren't, somebody correct me on that. So that's
So say that again. My understanding was that the 6220 was in an 027 set, and that was why they
had the 4-digit.
Right.
Yeah. And the 622 was an O gauge set.
Okay.
Then they went to 623, which was the only one they were making at that time, and that was, I don't know whether O gauge and 027 or just O gauge set.
Okay.
And then 624, same thing. But then they came out with a 6250, which maybe they were, again, I'm not total authority on that. My guess is all of these were 027 sets after the 624 and 620, but I don't believe that. So interesting thing, if you're really crazy about trying to figure out which are which, you can get into it. I don't know. And by the way, in the NW switchers, it didn't end with the 6250. There's somebody commenting about the Seaboard 601 and 602. Those are the black and red ones. The difference after the 6250 and the later ones that come later, which are all 027 engine sets, they all can't come with a stamped metal frame, which is like what's on the 44 ton, rather than it's the die cast metal frame that's on the other ones. They're not, they're not considered as well made, shall we say? And some of those are fairly rare, and they made a lot of those. There's at least 10 different road names, don't you think, Wally?
Yeah, because there's the Jersey Central, there's
Oh,
Union Pacific.
two different Jersey Centrals.
You know what's crazy? I always think about that is the only Union Pacific engine, diesel engine that Lionel made.
The 613, the 612.
The NW2.
No,
That's right, the Alcos.
2023.
Yeah,
And the
the
Alcos,
2020. Yeah, the orange, yellow Alcos, silver
Oh,
Alcos.
and they had the orange Alcos too. That's right.
Yeah, and they had
They didn't really have too much.
that orange Alco is a late set. That little orange Alco that you guys used to run. Bobby used to run it all the time.
It's not. Oh no, it's not here. Yeah, 202, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yep. That 2065 is a great puller too. That Mini Hudson.
Mm-hmm. Lionel made so many great trains. It's just really absolutely amazing what they've done. George, what I would look at is see if the wire got disconnected on over there when the bridge got hit, and the wire going to the motor on the bridge. I'd check that if nothing's happening, because that jolt may have knocked the wire off the bridge
Goes
motor.
up but not down anymore. At least when I was over there checking, George.
It's all the way up now. But so let's see what other comments we got. The 2065, yeah, great puller. Yep, absolutely. What is the number of the zebra stripe Santa Fe?
I want to say it's 611.
Yeah, it's 611 and 614 or something. Wally's got some of those zebra stripe black Santa Fe's. Those are realistic paint jobs on those zebra stripe. Bill Colbert has asked that number. There's two different ones, I believe, with two different numbers, and those are actually pretty nice engines, looking wise. Things. 027 Alco FA units. I like the yellow ones. Slip Rock there. I think everybody that ever has bought those Alco 027 Alco FAs probably thinks the Union Pacific is the prettiest one of the bunch. You've got in that line, you've got the yellow Alcos, then you got the all silver ones, then you got the silver and gray ones, and those two in Union Pacific. Then you have the Rock Island, which is, of them all, it's probably the hardest to find, is the 2031, I think the number is, or 20, something like that. The Rock Island, that's probably the hardest to find in really nice shape of those. Now, what's real hard to find, impossible, shall we say, if one hasn't been doctored by somebody, is finding the yellow Union Pacific with a gray on the front of the nose, a gray paint up in there. They did make some. I know they made them. I've seen them. But sometimes I think somebody may have painted the nose or something like that. So it's kind of, it's kind of really interesting. The rarity, I think the rarity is kind of crazy. It's what you like the best is what's the neatest. I like all of those. Engine. I hear a motor on the bridge here. It goes down.
Was it a wire, George?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's so good. But here's the thing that we can look at from this bridge incident. How nice, how it could be worse. How it could be worse is if that was actually a bridge over an opening and the train went under the bridge and went underneath and down. That has been known to happen on our TCA modular layout. We have a lifting gate like this, like we have on Wally's layout here, and it's supposedly got a stopping thing to keep the train from going there. But we had an incident where a train kept running and somebody had the thing opening. The train comes flying off the end of it down into the valley. Oh, not nice. Not nice. Happened at Milwaukee one year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was.
Wasn't that Linda's engine?
I think so. I think so.
The passenger cars.
And then the gray Union Pacific too. I forgot about that. The Alco.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
You have two version gray ones, the gray and the silver and the gray. Hardest to find
It's the yellow with the blue nose or the gray nose. Then there comes the gray, actually the Rock Island. Then the gray and silver, and
Erie.
and then there's the
Erie is the 610.
This is the this is beautiful. This is really, this one's choice. Let's see. Looks like it had, let's see if the price tag's my writing on here. Believe it or not. Yes,
And
I was selling this train.
actually, that he could sell it gift.
Probably.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So,
hey, there's some good thing to show on this too. This, if you look at this train here, not all these ones with the little frame have this battery box on the side. The only ones, some of the early ones, you got what one you got there? You got a Santa Fe that's got that.
that's the zebra stripe.
The zebra stripe and the 616. These are nice engines too. So, like I say, if a guy's into collecting, this one here is absolutely lights out gorgeous. No wonder I was charging so much for it. You know, I
Look at that.
I got.
You want to buy it now? Sell it. GFW Trains fire sale. Time to buy.
Hold it.
Time to pay for Christmas.
It says on here, 610 Erie switcher. Definitely my handwriting.
$160.
$160.
Oh my God, $160.
That's what they were getting for these things in the go-go days in the 80s. You know, because these are nice. This one nice heavy trucks on it. But and that Santa Fe is really nice. I'm surprised I don't have a price tag on that one. I think
well, I mean,
I don't
this
think,
this one you weren't selling.
I don't think that's got a horn in it too.
Horn.
Yeah, it's got a horn in there.
Wow.
But he doesn't even know that.
I did not know that.
See, I know, you know, I know they once upon a time were part of my collection.
They were. See, that's the problem. You get a gift from him. He's like, oh yeah, that was my it's mine. Oh, it's mine. Oh,
You know how you guys ever see Finding Nemo?
it's mine.
the seagulls in Finding Nemo? Mine.
let's see.
Which one is that? You wanted to put this back in it?
No, that one.
The Erie's
Put that one down on the floor over there. I got one last one that.
I'm going to put it over here. Okay. What?
Is that one that hit the cabooses?
The light's not going on, so there's no power to the track there.
Let me see. Let's see if this thing rolls.
There's no power to the track, so the headlight's not on.
All right, throw this one over there, Pops.
We're getting lined up here.
Just put it on the ground. Just put it on the ground.
Yeah, well, I learned about putting on the ground. I stepped on a very nice train once.
All right, so here's the next one, Grandpa.
What do we got here? This is a 611. 611 is a Jersey Central, I think.
There we go. Get some trains running again.
This is one of those impossible to get trains out of boxes.
One little accident, now the whole railroad's crazy cattywampus.
Hey, this is all part of Lionel Trains. Anybody that hasn't experienced this hasn't experienced Lionel Trains to the fullest.
Exactly. Hey, welcome to the stream there, Sparky 107 107. For those of you guys that don't know Sparky's kind of the inspiration for George and I doing these live streams. Sparky's was doing these live streams long before we even thought about it. And yeah, thanks. It's always makes me smile when I see Sparky 107 107 on here because he's brought this full circle. Sparky's like the godfather of railroad community making. So props go out to old Sparky 107 107 on that.
This is the 611 Jersey Central. Now there's another Jersey Central, I believe, that's all blue. Am I right?
Yes.
I think there's another Jersey Central, 612 or something.
Too. I forgot all about that one. I don't.
But so again, this is if you're into collecting and you want to collect a series of post-war trains, these are the ones that you can get. Usually you can find these for $100. You know, that's basically depending on how good a condition. and they are good runners. Some of them, the one thing they don't have is they have the 2-position E units in them, which aren't very much fun. I don't know which ones those are, but they either go forward and they'll stop and back. Now here's a Santa Fe.
This one needs to be cleaned up.
That has a lot of shelf dust.
Yeah.
Shelf dust. The Santa Fe.
There's the blue and yellow Santa Fe.
That's nice. I didn't realize how nice these are. I didn't realize we had these many. It's nice. This is a nice series.
Well,
and there's the Katie. Now, the thing about the Katie, let me tell you about that. That's the 600. That's in the least expensive set. Now, there's 2 versions, believe it or not, of the Katie. There is a one with a gray base, which is the hardest to find. Then there's a black base. I didn't know you had a black base too. I know. I have the set from my wife's house from when she was a little girl with the gray base. Then there's a rare Katie like that. It's got yellow lettering on it, which is hard to find. I've never seen one, but they tell me that's a big deal. But anyway, again, this is where if you want to collect and you don't want to be paying king's ransom for trains and you want to collect post-war trains, this is the kind of the thing. What the paint scheme was, the red and silver war bonnet. What's that one? Trainman Dan. Which one are you talking about?
The F3s.
The F3s behind us?
Yeah, right over there.
Yeah, the war bonnets. That's the Santa Fe's are the most long-running thing that Lionel made. They made them almost from 1949 up to almost the end of Lionel. They were making the F3 war bonnets.
So I heard that, I think it was within the last year that the sales of those war bonnets were eclipsed as being the most popular engine that Lionel's made.
Really? What took
the
place?
Polar Express.
Oh no.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I have to stand up and protest.
What? Why? The Polar Express.
Polar Express.
That's a classic engine, a classic movie.
Modern movie. Not a real railroad. Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe. I got it. Other than I
remember when gas was 25 cents.
God, I'm an old man. They don't even humor the old men anymore.
Oh, we humor you.
Nobody we humor the old man. Oh my goodness gracious sake! I only got one hand. Oh.
All right. So yeah, those are some. I love NW2s. So NW2s are my favorite. Believe it or not, that's about 2/3 of my collection. That's not even everything.
Yeah, I don't know how many NW2s there are because I never, other than what I acquired and passed on down to you know who. You know, it was kind of fun when I was collecting trains, when I was out really hunting them down. And it was kind of nice because I never ended up selling anything. Most people hunt down trains, always going or selling trains. I never had, because I had customers in the house. I had my 4 children, and I tried to feed them all trains. And it kind of, the guy that took to it the most was like this guy here. Look at that angelic look. And he'd go to the train meet without fail. He'd go to the train meets with me, and he'd look at me with those big brown eyes, and he'd say, "You know, we need one of those." But I trained him like a hunting dog. Fine trains. He's really very proud of the fact that he became so knowledgeable about trains. I could send him out to look for trains while I BS'd with all the train collectors. Maybe I've kept them off their feet. They wouldn't find the trains. And Wally actually hunting trains at York and in our Midwest Division meet found me several rare trains. And I always loved to tell the one story about the green generator car, which is really the green generator car. I'm talking to some of the guys, train politics. And he comes over and grabs me and he says, "Dad." And I says, "Can't you see I'm talking to Mr. Hollick?" I think it was. And he says, "Dad, come with me now." And I said, "Okay, what is it?" And we walk over and there's a green, at that time, these things were hard to find, a green generator car. And I reach over and I reach over to get
get it, and I pick it up, and I says, you got to be careful on these, Wally. I says, because sometimes these green generators are phonied. And the guy leans over and said, yeah, George, that's a real one. You beat me to it. The guy's a big dealer. And I'll never forget that. I'm so happy that I beat him to that, because he beat me to a car. When they were asking me to run for office in the TCA, the guy that was asking me to run for office had a beautiful silver dump car. And he's talking to me, and then the same guy goes over to his table and buys this beautiful silver dump car that the guy had for sale. And I'm sitting there saying, oh, because, some of this stuff is pretty easy to find now, because a lot of the collections are coming out of the woodworks of older guys like me that are, they don't have a family to give their trains to, which is really too bad. And I do have a family to give my trains to. And so it's kind of nice that I know where my trains are going, and I don't have to worry about selling them but when they bury me, I'll probably give me a transformer and an engine.
Which one we're going to give?
We'll set up a loop track.
Yeah, a loop track and everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
loop
man.
Track. And we'll
1666.
get 1666.
Oh, the 1666, she's got to be enshrined. Wally, you got to remember it, and George, you got to remember it.
Keep running it.
Keep running.
I know.
1666 runs like a champ.
We'll put a gang car, a 50 gang car.
Gang cars. We got gang cars.
There we go. We put one of those gang cars in Grandpa's.
Again,
There we go.
Can you believe that sold for $5.95?
$5.95. Look at that.
And that's a nice one. That's the harder to get one.
Which one? Why?
It's got the center horn,
Oh.
and it's got the two gray men. Two gray men.
Do you know what happened if we were running this, George?
Oh, the other thing, the other variations have the gray bumpers instead of blue bumpers.
If we were running this, George, and it hit that bridge, it would just turn around and gone the other way. Oh my gosh. I've had more problems with that darn bridge this week. That's the second time.
Is that the second time it's gone up on it?
Yeah. I think a ghost made it go up this time. Wasn't
me. You know what I would do is I disconnect one of the wires there at the switch, and then put a wire on there, so that can't happen. Ghosts.
Ghosts.
Either that, or I'd put a slide switch on there instead of a push button.
Take some super glue or some epoxy and glue it down.
No.
Although it's a cool accessory going up and down. That
is so cool. Those lift bridges, both of them. The great big one over here. And
yeah, you can't see. We've got another one over here too. They've got two lift bridges on the layout.
This one, the great big one, they had some problems with it. We're lucky he's
Because
got
of
one.
what, George?
The capacitor plague.
I love it every time George talks about the great capacitor plague.
What, dude? The capacitor plague, man.
He's
It's
like
the greatest capacitor plague of all time.
talking about it like it's the bubonic plague.
Because it was.
They
For
put these
computers.
capacitors. And it was plagued. Do you know what happened? Do you know what
They all
happened?
blew up. That's what.
Proto Sounds 2 is always on the fritz.
Yeah, because all the
Always.
capacitors made, or all the proto engines in the Proto Sounds 2 era, they were made during the capacitor plague, and so they
the great
So on all the-
capacitor plague.
So on all the 5-volt boards, all the 5-volt boards of the PS2 stuff, they have those really bad capacitors, and that's what they're known for going bad after a while because of the capacitor plague. And
The great capacitor plague.
and so the Lionel lift bridge is made during the same time, and it's got the same problems. Luckily,
That one's just got a ghost problem. This one,
knock
the
on,
other
knock
one,
on, knock on wood that
the gray one's got a great capacitor plague problem. That one's all right. It's just the ghost one over there, the ghost bridge. Ghost.
Train man Dan, you're the one that asked about
Ah,
the number
Science
of
EW.
Santa Fe's. It's kind of interesting because the Santa Fe Railroad, for the most part, on their passenger trains, F3, on the number board was the number of the train. So I don't think it had anything to do with the way Lionel numbered them or why, other than I think most of those diesels all had a 2300 series number, except for the single motored ones, and those are 22. like the 2243. And what's the Texas special number? 2245, right? So
yeah.
Now this one.
we're having an impasse here, but I think
We
the
get some
numbers-
whistling. Here's some.
There's the 773.
Trainman Dan, they didn't have any. They had a battery that went up into there, and they had a horn that just went.
What's that one? The Santa Fe?
Yeah. The
horn on the Santa
Yeah.
Fe. That's like a bicycle.
and then they
horn.
growled. And I don't know if you caught it earlier when we were running that 2353, but that thing growled. I love that sound. There's nothing better than that. Good.
And that runs smooth. That's better running than most of those 773s.
I remember one time you brought it to a train race thinking that it would be fast.
No, the gear. You didn't bring that to it.
Yeah, you did. He brought it to that drag race that TCA did.
Really?
Yeah.
A 773? No, he knew better than that. The gearing on these.
That's what I was saying.
The 773 has very realistic gearing, which it won't go fast. And
That ain't realistic for a Hudson.
It's realistic gearing.
It's realistic for a Pennsylvania, Hudson.
It's realistic. Now, how many miles an hour do you think that train's going right now? Scale.
Not enough.
So here's my thing about the
That's the backward scoop too, I might add.
right. So here's the thing about this one too. This is the other ironic piece about this 1964 Hudson with the Pennsylvania tender is that to find the Hudson with the Pennsylvania tender is actually harder to find. It's a rarer piece than the one with the New York Central, yet it sells for less.
Yeah, much harder to find. I don't have the Pennsylvania tender, I might add. Tell them about the other version you have. Wally's managed to find there's another version of the two versions of the New York Central tender. One is it a little tiny lettering?
Yeah, it said that they're squished together. I think if it's easy to get, yeah. Otherwise, I think it's in the display case, George.
But yeah, it's interesting the three different tenders they had with the 1950 64 65. I think they made those engines in 64 65 and 66. I think were the years they made the Hudson again. I guess they didn't sell them all, so they just kept selling them. And and then the 1950, and then of course we all know about the 5344 and what's the gray one's number?
Oh, 783.
783 that were made back in the pre-war. The gray and the semi-scale gray, the gray with the Vanderbilt tender, the gray with the coal tender, and the black with the coal tender, which is the hardest of the 763s to find, I think. And then you have the creme de la creme of them all, the 5344. So that's 700E, and it's really the Hudsons are the really interesting engine. Like I say, everybody writes it up. They were so surprised that Lionel, which had made a quality product, brought this engine back out, and so it's pretty neat. And the 2338, we used to watch those engines, those orange and black engines going by our house all the time when Wally was growing up. So you can't help but like them. And there you have, of course, as it comes back around, I don't know if you'll get a view here, but it's got you got a post-war automobile car with the blue Baltimore in Ohio. And then you've got a car that's become very, very desirable. It's the Western Pacific 64-64-250. This was a remake of the 64-64-100, which was made in 1954. And it was supposed to be numbered 250, but they named it 100. So then in 1960, I want to say 67 or 66, they brought the 64-64-250 out. So it's kind of very, 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 all of a sudden they become very desirable because the 64-64-100 painted like that is really, really different. We may have a surprise for the show a few weeks from now about something.
that'll have to do with those. So it's same bat time, same bat channel. When it gets all confirmed, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that on this show. A lot of people will talk about it too. So it's really, God, it's a lot of fun with these post-war. Thank you guys for listening. Me especially yabber about the post-war trains, but I know everybody. These guys are scurrying around, so they can't keep up the talking as much to get trains out to show everybody. And it's oh now
That top level is starting to go.
Cattywampus switches are thrown. We have switches being thrown and stuff like by the phantoms. I think.
It's that ghost.
They go.
I'm telling you, it's
I know.
What?
So Gargraves, we use our raw switches on our layout. But Gargraves, they have their series of switches are called the Phantom.
oh, it's the Gargrave Phantom.
Phantom line. Yeah, Phantom line
They kind of
switches.
suck. But
Allegedly.
allegedly.
So how everybody else? Anybody get any new trains lately?
Ooh, what do we want for Christmas, boys?
Yeah,
What do we want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas, George?
Oh, let's go.
Dang, that was good. I did too.
Be sure you mail your great gifts lists to Santa Fe.
What do you want for what do you want for Christmas, George?
Realistically, I think that some more I don't know.
PFE reefers?
Nah.
Split Rock 323. Yes, I enjoy collecting 64 series of boxcars. I am not trying for all the variations. I have them all, and I've got several variations of some of them. I am not trying to get them all, but I have all the 64 boxcars that were made. I don't have all the variations though of each one, but I have some of them. I have 3 or 4 variations of, but there's 5 or 6, and there's some of them. There's variations are, excuse me, impossible to find without paying too much money. As I've joked about trains, people say to me, and hear a growler going by, does that sound cool or whatever? As I've said about trains, I'm to the point where what I don't have, I can't afford, or I can't find. There's probably, to put out $4,000 for a boxcar is not in my repertoire of doing things. So as much as I'd like to have a solid Shield Rutland, it's probably never going to happen. It's what people are asking for it. When you could buy a car before you could buy the cars, you aren't going to do it. And so that's where I am with the boxcars. I love them though. That was when I first got into train collecting. That was the only thing I was doing. I got like I say, I got that Fairbanks Morris engine, and I decided to collect 64 boxcars. But I had a limit when I go to a train show. I wouldn't spend any more than $25 for the boxcar. So I didn't get it all, and it's really, really, really interesting. You know, I love this channel, and I love the opportunity to be on with my son and my grandson. I've had so much fun. I almost feel when I'm at home watching it. Last week I was in Utah watching them, and I was saying, "Oh, geez, I wish I was there." I know, I enjoy this. I enjoy the camaraderie everybody has. That's something Wally and Georgie have really done. Is all you guys that are come on the channel and spend time with us.
I haven't made my speech yet, George.
Yeah, he hasn't made his speech yet. Oh, hey, do you know
My
it
speech.
actually made a black painted GG1 was just a myth or a mistake? Split Rock, I've got to tell you what, that's one of the great mysteries of all time. There was a black GG1 that was on sale that we saw, and some people say it's just a dark green. You know, the one that I know that I would bet there really was a black GG1 because it had silver stripes. They were very, very faded, but there were silver stripes and not gold stripes on it. You know, they were very faded, and I've seen that one as truly it's black, not green. But some people try to peddle. I saw somebody at York Censored by the
last time
Pennsylvania.
Had a very, very, very deep green 2332.
You want to stop this one, Papa?
And it was, he was trying to say it was black. And that's no way that's black. That's green. That's a deep, deep, deep Brunswick green. And like I said, the one I know for sure that I have seen had silver stripes. So that's how I would. Yeah. So Bill, we had an idea. I think what we're going to do is one of these weekends, maybe when George is off of school and things slow down a little bit, we're going to head over to your house. I think we're going to try and help you fix your train layout up so you get that thing up and operating for Maverick.
So he can love every train except for the cab forward.
Yep, there we go. There we go. Hold it. Everybody drink some tea. Cab forward. Cab forward. Drink it up. Yep. That's the first time we've heard that tonight, huh? Yep, yep. Well, hey, listen, everybody. On that note, I wanted to say this. And I say it to everyone. And all right, go ahead. Put it up there. Speech time. It is so nice.
Bruh.
On a Friday night, hanging out with my dad, my son. Back here making some faces on me. No, but it's so cool. My favorite part of model trains is the community. Meeting people, talking about trains, talking about different things, learning stuff. I've been doing this since I was a young boy. I was about 3 or 4 when I started going with my dad to these train shows. Yep, it was. So I really appreciate everybody being here and being a part of this community. We've got such a great community, especially the group that we've got on here that's making YouTube content. We've got a great corner of YouTube. We've got a neat part of the hobby. And I just can't say enough. Support each other, guys. Go watch each other's videos. Like, subscribe, content. See the people that are on here. See the people that are hanging out with us. Make sure that you're always talking and just keep the synergy flowing, guys. Keep the synergy flowing. I love it. So, yeah. Hey, Nick Strauss in the house. Applies for CSX. Right on. Did yourself a railroad job. And the man who was the inspiration for Postwar Night TV Tech. All right. Well, let's see. We started out the little replay. We started out our audio wasn't so good.
Then we determined part of the audio was because of the noise of the trains.
And then we figured out the audio. We got the audio going. Had some great talks showing off some trains. Then we had a ghost come in. The ghost came and raised that bridge over there. And we had a big crash. George went quiet, went angry, then he's back. There we go. Well, let me see that dimple kid. And,
Look at that.
You missed this smile. You missed this grumpy puss. And
Puss. Tell me on YouTube, he didn't mean that.
Hey, I got to tell you how good this layout is. You guys check this out. These post-war trains running around here with nobody paying any attention to them. And they're all running smooth and nice. Look
Except
at
for
that.
the ghost.
the ghost.
The phantom of the guardrails phantom. You use my switches right now.
Harump. I like that. Harump. Too many harumps. I know somebody that watched Blazing Saddles. Harump.
Nice. And hey, I haven't said it. I always say it a lot, and I totally forgot. Hey, if you're in here, if you haven't already, please do me a solid, smash that like button, smash it, get that up there. It really helps with getting the YouTube out in the algorithm so people see it. I forgot to say that a bunch of times. I'm just not thinking about that. But yeah, hey, smash that like button. Maybe you'll make George smile.
Oh, I heard a clank go there. Oh, you got an injury over here or something.
That's what happened.
Stupid sound.
Uh-oh.
Grandpa, you jinxed it. You were talking about how great everything was running, and then that's what happened. So yeah. Hey, Nick, I hope that you're able to get that job with the CSX. That'd be fun. So hey, Conrail 8098 wants to know if we got a 3430 generator car. Yes, we do.
That's a nice one. It's got a couple of
So
those.
yeah, we got out some of our NWT switches. We're talking about how we like NWT switches. Nick from Nick's Crossing, he likes to do live streams. He has a lot of live streams on his channel, and he's got a lot of post-war trains and loves post-war trains. fixing them up, running them, everything like that. Yeah. Oh, I missed what the movie we got here.
Where we at?
There we go. You got it. My speech.
Parum.
So, 5-window cab locomotive. Yes or no? I'm not sure what that is.
Well, I think the 5-window cab locomotive is on the on some of the Berkshire, some of the cabs on some of the steam engines. This one I think is a 4-window on this one. Where you'd have a little,
Right, a little stanchion on
yeah,
there.
you'll have a little opening in the front. I don't know what
I
train.
always got 4 windows. I'm a 4-window guy.
See, I don't know what. Maybe it's on. Is it on the 773 or the 5
No, it
window?
isn't.
No, is that a 4-window?
No. This one. No, wait.
773.
This one is 746.
746 got 5 windows. Oh yeah, 746 over.
We had the 746 over here before, so bring it over again, George. Fingers.
Hey, and I've got to make up for all of the lost time. Smash that like button if you would for us. Smash.
There's your 5-window guy, isn't it? Yep. No, that's 4 windows, George.
This is 5. 1,
Oh,
2,
oh,
3, 4, 5.
Oh, how many fingers do I have, George?
5.
No, 4 to thumb.
Hey, George wins. I didn't even think about those front split cab windows.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. I never even paid any attention to that.
And if you're just joining us, we are running 2353 Santa Fe war bonnets from circa 1950,
54, 53.
1954. We've got a set of Speedliner cars behind that one. Up above my shoulder, we've got the Texas Special 2245. We were running those before. We switched those out so that we can run 2238 Milwaukee Road GP9. Is it GP9 or GP7? GP7.
Jeep. Just say Jeep.
Milwaukee Road Jeep. That one was made, I want to say 1957.
I would say 56 and 57. He made it both years. Or 55, 56, and 57. Somewhere in there. They made it several years. Because you had both you had the full stripe, the luminescent, the darker ones. That was a very popular engine. Somebody had mentioned they had got it in a Sears set. I got mine. It was in a Monkey Ward set, so not to be outdone.
Montgomery Ward.
Then you bring up Sears sets and Jeeps, so whoever it was, if you're still on, of course, there's the very famous Sears set. I think the number is the 2347 blue, Chesapeake in Ohio.
Oh, right.
That's one we look for all the time to see.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, very tough one.
Hey, George, you know what? One time I had a Hudson. I left it in my pocket of my pants, and your mom washed my pants, and everything shrank because it was in the hot. So,
Oh yeah, you had a 700E.
So my Hudson came out like this.
Isn't that a beaut, guys? These guys got this at a train at York.
George got it at Dork. The Dork got it at York. Oh, see what I did there, George?
The Grand Ole York of.
That is so
what's that
neat.
song? The Grand Ole York.
Double O Hudson.
Yeah.
That's a neat train set.
Yeah, that'd be cool to get some other
Don't tell
cars
Frank
for.
Piazza you got it. He'll probably try and get it from you. Wish he would get on this channel. There's a gentleman in our club. He and his brother Manny, Frank and Manny Piazza. They are the two most knowledgeable people I've ever heard of in post-war trains. They've managed to piece together a collection that you wouldn't believe, and they piece together set boxes and sets with all the proper envelopes and everything like that. The differences in instructions. These two gentlemen are the most knowledgeable post-war train collectors I know, and good friends of ours, I might add. Really nice men, and very proud to know them. And most of the trains they have are almost absolutely brand new. I've never seen anything like it.
Like to do a collab one day.
Oh, I would too.
Go over there and
I like to go over to his house. we always have a joke about his trains. We walk into his house when we're over there, and if you say the word transformer, all the trains on the shelf start shaking. They don't know what it is.
It's like the electric chair. They don't like to be them running engines, the lower class running engines.
No.
Yeah, they are. The guys are, but there's, if there's something to be known about train collecting, and what Lionel made when they made it in post-war trains, there's no people that are better knowledge. If you ever wanted to communicate with them, you could write to the Midwest Division, and maybe they could pass something off over to the guys. Here we have great whistle. How about that? Oh, you got
We should get that one smoking, man. That's a good smoker. That Hudson.
the Hudson. Oh, 635 Southern in HO. That's pretty neat.
Oh wow, that is really cool. It's a HO. That one's a Lionel one, right?
Yeah, Lionel HO.
Might have that one.
You think you have that in HO?
It's so
They've got HO trains too.
couple.
Not that many. I know there's a gigantic boxes out there that they're trying to figure out what are we going to do next. Well, they're running out of room. I thought my wife said, George, we've got to move some of your trains that you just have sitting on things. I said, well, I don't have anywhere to put them. And she says, maybe you have too many. And I'm beginning to wonder if I have too many. I don't want to consign them to the airplane hangar, but that's kind of off limits. But I'm trying to think of what else I could consign to the airplane hangar that I could put the trains there. So, how you doing, Rob? 412. Good evening to you.
Hey, if you're just rolling through the door, welcome to GFW Trains. Friends Fun Friday, Fast Friday. We're having a great time here. We're operating some post-war trains. It's a post-war feature tonight. We got George, otherwise known as GFW Trains. We got OG George in the house, and then me, Wally, the guy that takes
What the heck?
George places.
Oh no, not too much anymore, though.
Oh,
George,
I don't know. I feel like I still am taking places.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Keep that up.
Hey, George, put that turbine on the front of that.
Just put the turbine on the front. The turbine works
We
fine.
got some turbine fans here.
Somebody else wants to see the turbine? Oh yeah, there it is. Bob Zogate Trains.
Train and dance as you guys rotate our inventory. I do, but I'm really bad at it. I don't think I've ever sold a piece, but I sometimes turn it around to rotate it to look at all of the different sides.
We're not sellers. We're hoarders.
Yeah, yeah. Nick's, you're right, man. You're just rolling through the door, smash that like button. That's appreciate you saying that. Remind me, I keep forgetting to say that. But everybody, I love it having you hang out here with us on Fast Friday, Fun Friday, Friends Friday. I've been trying to think about like rebranding the live stream. That's why I think that we're putting Got Trains, and we're gonna call it either Fun Friday or Friends Friday. We do have a lot of history though with Fast Friday, that's for sure.
Yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, Tiny Town Trains TV. You know,
People.
at my age, I don't think I need a bigger building. Although, they just gave me a thought. I have a vacant house over in Michigan.
Fill that thing up.
I could fill that with trains.
Fill it up, baby.
Want to go to Michigan State, bro? Train a frat house for trains.
Trainapalooza.
Oh no, you don't let anybody in there. If there are trains in there, that'd be my train house.
Trainapalooza, man.
That's not a bad idea. Train house. I could go over to Michigan and not miss a beat.
Yeah, it's like the president, He's got those vacation spots that he can go to that are just like kind of like knockoff White Houses, right? Go there and continue his work. Just not have to be at the White House. Be like that.
Yeah. Tiny Town Trains, you're right. I actually met a guy that had two houses stacked with trains. Back in the 70s, I was introduced to this gentleman who lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was a big dealer, and he used to have a bookmobile. that he had turned into his train-seeking mobile. And he'd have his trains on the walls in this bookmobile, and people would come and look at the trains. And if somebody came through the front door and said, "Oh, I have those at home," he'd have the young lady that worked for him call him up in the front of the bus as they walked through the bookmobile, and he'd say, "I'd like to buy your trains." So I went up with another collector to Milwaukee one night about midnight, and we toured 2 houses just completely jammed with trains. I remember this guy used to come down to the DuPage meet. His name was Tommy Michaels. And Tommy used to come down and he would bring down 700Es to sell that he'd either repainted and all this kind of stuff. But he'd bring down these 700Es to sell, but people would say don't buy them from him for some reason. Of course, I didn't have the money to buy them for him anyway. But he had more trains than, like I say, he had houses full of trains, which was always interesting.
So username 661, you're talking about the dislike on the live stream. I've got the dislike curse. And here's my deal with the dislike curse. If you put a dislike on a GFW Trains video and you have a train collection, I guarantee the curse is going to hit you, and the curse is you will have a train that breaks. And when your train breaks, after you've hit the dislike on a GFW Trains video, you'll remember me and you'll remember this.
You remember that face.
You got yourself cursed because you hit the dislike on the GFW Trains video.
You know what Wally just did there reminds me, and many of you people have seen the movie The Blues Brothers, right? Well, the Blues Brothers get out of jail and they're going to see Sister Mary Pat at the orphanage. And she stands up there at the stairs as she backs it. "You boys need to be redeemed," and slides back. That's Wally right there. And to say there, guy, I'll give to college at Michigan State as long as George starts a train fraternity. Hey, you know, wasn't the Polar Express engine the Michigan State engine?
It was.
Yeah.
The
See?
Polar Express was out in front of Spartan Stadium for years.
We used to go sit there when we go to the games, and right there is the engine they're running around is the Polar Express.
Hey, George, here's one for you. Steve 87 PSAP says that Rensselaer Polytech in New York has a student train layout.
So does Illinois. University of Illinois.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Angel Garcia. It's an HO scale layout, but Angel Garcia was telling me about it. He said that he never went, but he had a friend who was a part of the club or the extracurricular activity.
Where is Rensselaer Polytechnic? Is that in Rensselaer, New York, up there on the New York Central, or is that back when they made back in the 50s, there was a Lionel train book, and there was everything in it. They had this Rochester Model Railroad Club with Lionel Trains. And that used to be it's called Model Railroader. And it had everything in there with Lionel Trains and how to build a layout and all that kind of stuff. That was the Bible. I think we have a copy of it somewhere. It was the Bible for O-gauge trains back in the 1940s and 1950s. So, but yeah, I agree. I'd go to a college if they had a Lionel layout. You could run all
Right. So Matthews O'Steele thinks that Penn State has a model railroad club.
Good thing, because their football team,
Gotta have something to take your mind off things. Gotta have
If your trophy don't got shelves, we don't want it.
So we had to eat a little crow us Michigan Staters here because 2 weeks ago when the guys with the double O's put it to us pretty darn good. So respect to Penn State too. They're good people and good school.
Right, so Bob and Bob's O-Gauge Trains and Rob 412 were talking back and forth about Bob's trains that he's been putting on. I have to echo Rob 412's thoughts. Bob's O-Gauge Trains has got some neat stuff. You got to run over there and take a look at his channel if you haven't already, and see his. It sounds like he's got a new series of trains that's coming out. So I can't wait till you get those put out. Well, I'm gonna definitely keep my eyes peeled for that one. For sure.
I like that one. If the president can have 2 Air Force Ones, I can have 2 Rudolph 2s.
I like it. I like it.
There's a little cartoon on Facebook these days. There's the Santa's sitting by there. He's on the phone, and the reindeer are looking in the window, and he says, "I hear he's calling Uber this year to run the packages out."
Ah, very good, very good.
Excuse me.
Let's see here. Bear Creek Woodworking was a Michigan State alum. I guess we remember 1225 at Michigan State when he was in college there.
Yeah. Well, right by the powerhouse there that had MSC, Michigan State College, on the smokestack.
Yeah, they've taken that down too, that smokestack.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Michigan State going green.
Yeah. Oh, well, green and white.
So, see here. Blues Brothers had a sequel movie, Blues Brothers 2000. Never saw that movie, but I remember Kyle Petty running a special paint scheme in the 1998 Daytona 500. I didn't see that one either. I had no idea that Kyle Petty ran that paint scheme. Yeah, that was one of those failed reboots. It was one that they should have just left alone.
Yeah.
A movie like that.
Yep. Yeah. There's no way you could do anything better than Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi.
So we talked a little bit before, but we kind of have a little bit of turnover of people that are watching. So we're running and featuring post-war trains out here tonight. And in terms of post-war trains, what's your favorite post-war train? What's your favorite? Okay, so you've got your favorite, and then what would be the piece that you would most like to have?
That I don't have.
Correct. So your favorite was the Erie Lackawanna,
Yeah, it was
the Train Master, the Lackawanna Train Master.
Well,
And did you care which one you got? They had two versions of that, a maroon roof and a gray roof.
I didn't care. The one I saw first was the gray roof. And I remember the gray roof. I didn't remember the maroon roof, but I remembered the gray roof, and that's the one I got first. That my wife said, "We'll buy it," and you could probably buy that same engine for the same thing I paid for it in 1977. So that's what's interesting. You buy that now, and probably mine's in perfect condition with the original box, and it's value about the same when I paid for it back then. So that tells you what train values have done. But as I was talking earlier, of what there is out there that I don't have, I'd love to have a 700E. Of course, I'm not going to chase one down now that he has it, because he won't inherit one. If he just inherits them too, he'll give one to George. But I talked about, I like the 64 box cars, and there's, I'd love to get a solid shield Rutland box car, but I'm not going to pay that kind of money that people are asking for the few that are around. Not to mention that some of them that are around aren't really are phonies. And,
Nick, I kind of got a thing for 624s too.
Just a few here.
I got a few.
Well, this one's got.
Oh, this one's a 6250.
Yeah.
But these are the three, and then George has got one. I think we've got 5 total 624s. We got two 6250s. Yeah. But those NW2s, those are my favorites. I love those.
Yep. And I say, I don't know how many of you guys are, we don't know how old some of you guys are and everything, but whether you're collectors or runners, and there's nothing wrong with being a collector and runner, because I think that's what the most fun of it is. Just to look at your train sit on the shelf. I look at, we come down here and we're playing with these post-war trains, and I'll go home and I'll go down in my basement and I'll look at all my post-war trains that are on the shelf that I hardly ever run. And the reason you hardly ever run them is because, when you bring them off the shelf, as we've found out tonight, God, the grease is stuck up in them. They don't run real good.
NW2 can pull that thing. Let's see if an NW2 can pull that train next go around.
Yeah.
If not one, then we'll put 2 on there.
Oh, double-headed NW2s.
Right, yeah, let's turn this up a notch.
Getting a sequence strike's really going to be interesting.
So DB Tech loves the turbines. Next purchase is a 682 for 671.
A 680. You want it?
Grandpa loves turbines too. Grandpa thinks I think you think that the best bang for your buck with Lionel Postwar Trains is a turbine.
Was the turbine? Yes, I got turbines. All 4 of my kids got turbine sets for engine tender for Christmas. My 2 girls have them. He's got one, and his brother has one. And I used to be able to find turbines in nice condition for $125. And I would say if you're going to buy a turbine, first of all, if you've got the money, buy the 682, because the 682's got the extra little valve gear on it. It's really neat, but they're a lot more money. The 671 I don't recommend because it doesn't have magnet traction, and there is something nice looking about them because they have the rims, the tires around the rims of the tire. And so if you get an old one, I've got several versions. And then you have the smoke bulb in some of them.
Right.
That's the 1947 set, which comes with the silver dump car, the rear crane. What else is in there? But that comes with it. That 671 turbine with a smoke bulb. But if you're an operator, the 681 turbine is going to be your best bang for your buck. It's got everything in it. It just doesn't have the valve gear on the side. They run good. Get the 6-wheel, if you can find them with the 6-wheel tender, the 2671W tender. That's the best one with the heavy 6-wheel tenders. Those are the. I think that's 1950, I believe, 1951, 52. Those are the best ones. Best bang for the buck too. Okay, here we are. Oh,
right, we got
backwards. Oh, the unit's stuck on.
Oh, we probably got that one stuck so it runs here. Do you want me to help you with that, George? Off the screen here, George. Oh,
No.
George is just.
He's just gonna run it backwards. Cab. Oh, cab forward.
Cab forward.
Oh, look at this. The steam engine guys will die now. A diesel running cab forward.
All right, we got one on there. Got to scoot that back so everybody can see what you're doing, George.
Yeah, get it back. Didn't it pull it with one engine?
One NW2 wouldn't do it. So we're
All right.
doing a lash up here.
You get a good view of George's head as he lashes this together. This is cool. I have never done this with an NWS. Here we go. Need to get some shelves. I agree. I need more wall. Our house is kind of a collection of all kinds of collections because my wife has some wonderful collections. So we've run out of walls to put anything on anymore. Our house is like going into a museum. I get the basement. She gets up to the rest of the house.
You should tell Bob, my brother, to get you a office. So you got all kinds of walls in your office over there.
Yeah, office at the hangar. That's what I need. I need to clean out my hangar of all the junk I have in there, including the boxes of. I've got, in my layout, I've got Department 56 all over. I have boxes.
I hear that you recently got a Mustang-sized space available.
Yes, I'm going to put my old Chevrolet. Anybody want a 1989 Chevrolet Caprice station wagon with 200,000 miles on it, with a little bit of rust? Still runs pretty decently. 3 new tires and a new battery.
There we go.
1989 classic. Oh, look at this.
Oh, double header here.
All right.
So, Brendan, thanks for showing up. Glad you're here. You just rolling through the door. Do me a solid, smash that like button. But we're running Postwar Lionel Trains tonight. And for those of you just rolling through the door that might not know what Postwar Lionel Trains are, Grandpa, give us a little rundown.
Once again, Postwar Trains, just for your information, we consider all trains that are made from 1946 on to the 1969 era are post-war trains. And that's what's considered the post-war era. And it's kind of that era of Lionel. When Lionel was the primary toy maker in the United States. They were the largest toy maker. They had astounding profits of over $1 million some years, which back in those days was really something from just selling toy trains. And that's the era we like to talk about, us post-war collectors. After 1969, when the original Lionel Corporation went out of business, then we switched to the MPC and various different Lionel Trains Incorporated, LTI, the Battle Creek, Big Fun Dimensions, until up to what they have now, which is, the history of Lionel is so interesting. You buy the Tom McComas books that have the history in it. I'm going to get a plug in just in case Tom ever watches us, and it's worth it to buy those books and read about the history of Lionel Trains and Lionel Corporation, and even American Flyer Corporation. The American Flyer Corporation actually started in Chicago, but what we know most people consider American Flyer is the New Haven, Connecticut division of Gilbert Toys. Gilbert, and they were the ones that made the post-war American Flyer. Everything prior to World War II comes from what they call the old Chicago Flyer, American Flyer. So that's interesting.
I didn't know that there was two totally separate areas. I mean, I guess I did know that. I knew that they made them out in New Haven, the post-war stuff, and I do know that they made the pre-war stuff in Chicago. I just never put two and two together on that, I guess.
Yeah. When Gilbert bought American Flyer just before World War II, and then it's when they went to the two-train 3/16 3-rail, and that was Gilbert. And then you had we got uncoupling. Was that?
They're going at different speeds. That's why.
Well, no. Are the couplers opening? You know why the sliding shoe? That's it. Which one is it? Both engines are doing it, or? Well, put in change it around. Use
Try a Seaboard,
or use that other coupler. Because one of the shoes is hitting it.
Oh, it's this engine that's doing it. Oh yeah.
I'll pull it. Look at that.
All right, one NW2, get her going.
And that one's a good puller. Look at that. The other one was.
Gotta love those NW2s.
A little oil on the, you'd never think of it. You got a little switch engine. Now here goes the turbine.
Can't beat that sound. So T4 wants to know what year did American Flyer stop making 3-rail and only go to S gauge, Dad?
Post World War II. When World War II came along, American Flyer stopped making the 3/16 3-rail. After World War II, they came on with S gauge. That's as I know it. Now I'm not an authority on American Flyer, but I think that's the way that worked.
So, yeah, DB Tech says he loves 1980 Chevy. Full frame, easy to fix.
You betcha.
Oh, yeah. So, I agree. So, George, you know this story, right? So, Ives is the one, Ives Trains invented the E-unit. Ives Trains invented the E-unit. And, Lionel bought Ives specifically so they could get the patent for the E-unit and incorporate the E-unit into their trains. Yeah, you know that?
What's the other one that the whistling, the air whistle in the tender? Lionel had the patent, so American Flyer couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why the air whistle. There's several of them. They had the patents. The one had that the other couldn't use, so they tried to figure out ways to use the other guy's stuff. And I don't remember all of them, but I know there's several of them that they fought over the patents, just like the famous MTH and Lionel over the big steam engines in Korea. When you lock the E unit on forward on the turbine.
It's for some reason, I don't know why.
It's
George, if you want to go to bed, you can. George isn't feeling so well. You can see it in his face. You all right?
We're probably getting pretty close to post time too. 9:30. It's over. There it goes. Look at that little guy spin. He stopped again on you. Oh, I can hear something grinding in the gear. That's why it's stopping.
Berkshire did that too.
Well, the lights went out on it. There's no power on it right there. Huh, that's weird. Every time it goes over a switch.
Not to switch it.
That little Brennan, that little 2026 is a real nice little engine. Oh, Lionel purchased the i3 unit, yeah. And the other one that was kind of an interesting thing is I believe Lionel had a patent for the knuckle coupler, which is one of the reasons why Flyer always had the latch couplers.
Huh. I would figure that the regular trains had knuckle couplers. So
They did. But I
you
mean,
can pretty much.
the manufacturer of the coupler for a toy train. Because, American Flyer didn't have knuckle couplers till the middle 50s. And they were always those latch couplers, which is always the one thing that wasn't realistic about American Flyer trains, is the couplers were goofy.
Yeah, George got the same speed going here. The only spot is the turns. That's all right, George. If you're tired, why don't you go ahead and hit the. All right, good.
So, yeah, this show is really what all the 26 front end near the trucks. It's what you're missing on the 26 is the pilot, and that you can find those. Look around in the show, and if it's one that's really valuable to you, that train, like you've had that and it broke off, you can find those very easily, and you can find 2026s very easily, 2025s, those kind of parts. They're very available. There's a couple of big parts guys that have those, because a lot of those trains are get broken up, but I know that you can buy that pilot. What's the name of that outfit over there in Michigan that sells parts? Name starts with a B. They have a lot of old parts like that. But if you go to train shows, there's always people with parts selling. Get the part number, and you can find it. That's a common part, a pilot. I think it works on not only the 2026, it works on the 2037, I believe, and the 2018. The same one, I think. So, and the front and rear trucks, that's it. Brendan, you'd probably be, with the 2026, you'd probably be better off just going to, if you're looking for all those parts, going to a train show. You could probably buy a 2026 for $50. You probably spend $100 for the parts.
Yeah. Nick says, I got my Holy Grail 2025 with Baldwin drivers and a silver stack.
All right, that's a good one. Yeah, who's generally the train doctor in the family? Well, used to be me, but it's the guys here have really graduated into doing more of it. With the old stuff, we all do a little bit of it. I guess it's in what do we want to do with our time, and
Like that caboose.
all of us, that's the neat thing about old trains. You can fix them. Today's new trains, golly, there's nobody that's a good train doctor. I'd like, it'd be fun to go to the Lionel School of learning how to fix them, but does one have the time to do it? And we've got a couple of friends of ours that fix them for train shops, and you get overwhelmed with it, and the stuff that gets broken and doesn't work. And I'm kind of retired. I fix airplanes that I own and stuff like that. But we have enough. When you have enough trains in your collection, you can never stop fixing trains. Just getting everything to run here tonight is probably 2 weeks work on trains.
I know. I'm thinking of all of the work that I've got to do to fix the things that aren't working, or
little things broken off.
Right.
So
George, if you could get one post-war train, what would it be?
2338.
That one?
that's the 38.
Sino,
47.
Oh, 2347. Yep.
So, I think
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's one
Or
we
is
don't
it the
have.
2360? Which is the? That's the 65. The 2365 is the real one.
the 47.
It's 2347. 2365 is the normal.
Is the normal one. Okay.
Right.
All right. See, they're smarter than I am. Yeah. I'm suffering from sometimers. Sometimes I can remember, sometimes I can't. That's pretty good. I went to Lionel School. Guy there. Center driver is cracked. Oh, that's no good. It requires a bit of work. Yeah, a lot of the train fixing, you got to have the proper tools. If you've got the rivet tool that the Lionel made, the ST 104, whatever it is, and the wheel pullers and things like that, to really be a good shop, you have to have all those tools that Lionel provided. And they in the service manual, they have how to fix everything. But you have to have the different pullers, the different taps, they're pretty easy to do if you can find the parts. And usually you can find the parts. If you can't find, you can sometimes find junker engines. A lot of guys just buy junker engines and stuff for the parts.
Right. Right.
Because it's not rocket science to work on them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know who has a huge parts collection is Denny's Trains and Things here in Oswego. He's got all kinds of parts.
Denny used to be nothing more than parts seller.
Yeah.
Don't you remember? Before he opened Denny's parts, he used to come to shows with so many parts. It was
Bins
unreal.
and bins and bins of parts.
Yeah, those days, all the parts sellers have kind of gone the way of the dodo bird, though. There's only so much money you can make in that business. And it's so tiring, you're standing there behind a table selling things that for $1.50, and it takes a guy comes in with a list of 30 parts, and after you're done working with him for an hour and a half, it's $25 for all these little itty bitty parts, searching through everything, and you've maybe made $5 out of the deal. I applaud those parts guys that do that.
Matthew's O-Scale Train says, which George has more post-war? Not even close. We've got a lot of post-war here. You've seen some of our collection here, and we've got a lot more that you haven't seen here. But that isn't even 20% of what he's got.
I got a nice collection, I do have to admit.
But it's also been well over 50 years worth of collecting for.
More like, how about, shall we say, I'm 78 years old, 75 years of collecting trains.
Right. So that's what's a long time there. So I like these Jeeps too. The Jeeps are another underrated.
Sweet engines.
Right.
And they look good looking.
They are.
Like the real engine.
Right. I think that there are a couple engines that Lionel made that they just totally struck out on the way that they look. Like those 44 tonners. Those are cool looking engines. I mean, they're cool looking toys, but they don't look anything like the engine.
Oh.
The other one that I love, again, another really, really cool Lionel piece. But look nothing like their real counterpart. The Lionel Alcos.
They're actually as big as the F3. And you look at the difference in size between the F3 and this. The F3 is pretty close to scale, but you look at this, and that engine, in reality, is as big as the F3.
How about that one? So, yeah.
The difference in size, it's pretty hard to tell. I'll get up and... Yeah, Lionel took a lot of liberties with some things, but let's all remember these are toys. The greatest toy ever made. They're toys.
So my Alco collection is kind of lean. I've got a few of the newer Alcos. I got not the newer post-war Alcos, the more cheapy ones. The Texas Special, the Marines. I've got the Red Rocket. I've got Blue Rock. George, why don't you go to bed, dude? You're all right. It's all right, dude.
Is he falling asleep on the switch?
All right. And then the only of the substantial Alcos that I've got are the Eries. Gosh, I forget the number on these. 2023, I think. Yeah, no,
No,
2032.
2032. They're nice engines. And that one he's got there, the decal on the nose is really nice, and that's what's hard to find with that engine. Nice front decal.
George just got a little customization on it.
Would you customize that? Did you run that into something?
Oh, no, where's the other? That one might still be
Oh,
upstairs.
the broken pilot?
George's lumber company for a day.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay.
Decided to chop down a tree in the house,
Oh,
and it
no.
landed on the train.
Oh, oh. Oh, no.
It's how the story goes.
All right. So when George was a little boy, he loves trains. He loves trains, putting up trains at Christmas. We'd always put up a train around the tree. We'd always have a train around the tree. And George would just play with the train around the tree. And one year for Christmas, did I confirm that those were given to me, or are those just part of the I will remember one day and accuse you of stealing one of my trains? All right.
I cannot commit to any.
Confirmed Christmas gift. Confirmed Christmas gift. Well, Dad gave me these sets of Irialcos for Christmas, and I had them around the tree, and we were running trains. Anyway, I was off at work one day, and George was behind the tree, and playing with the trains, and the tree fell down on the trains and fell down on my Alco, and put a little mark at the top. And oh my gosh, poor kid, he was really upset about that.
You know, that's one thing we are, both our grandsons that I have, George and my other grandson, Sammy. I love that they love trains. Sammy loves trains too. Not quite like this guy, but, you know, George is always, you know, everybody used to say, you let these kids run the trains. And I used to let George and Sam, George knew how to run that layout as good or better than I do, and knew all where everything goes. And I go upstairs, you know, when we'd have guests over, and they'd be downstairs running trains, and they said, "You mean you just let those kids down there running that layout?" I said, "Sure."
Hey, Train Man Dan, I don't mean to cut my dad off real quick, but if you're still on here, Train Man Dan, say something, because I got to show you something. We found it the other day. So if you're on here, Train Man Dan, just hold tight. Hold tight. Or say something. But otherwise, hey, thanks for being on. Everybody, thanks for staying on and hanging out with us tonight. Smash that like button if you haven't already. All right, so there you go, Dad. I'm sorry.
Somebody asked if we have 2032s and 2023. Yes, we have all of the bigger Alco FAs, the more expensive ones, the cast steel frames. We have all of those. The only variation we don't have of those is the gray-nosed Union Pacific yellow one, which are very hard to find. And we like them. They're a very nice running engine. The
Alcos, I love the Alcos. The Alcos, they pull good. They're not as good as NW2s, but they pull well, and they've got a nice gearing in them, so they can pull a lot of trains and everything like that. Yeah.
Right.
Oh. Train Man Dan back. But as I'm thinking about it, Train Man Dan.
He's still here, he says.
Got it. But I'm thinking I got the wrong guy with the building. That's the building in your room.
Oh, yeah, no, that's different guy. Yeah.
It's late. I've worked all week. It's Friday. I haven't had my bourbon yet, so my brain is. I'm thinking I've got you mixed up. I don't know. Just names got mixed up. I know who you are, Michigan guy. Have a big day tomorrow. Got to get some sleep. My bad. So Train Man Dan had you mixed up. I don't need to stick. I'm sorry. What I needed to show wasn't to show you. It was to show somebody else. So have a big day tomorrow. Good luck with your team.
Yeah. Nick's Crossing. That's neat that you have the one with a non-dimple roof. Oh, what? Is he? Where? Somebody going to the Michigan game? Where's that?
No. Train Man Dan's a Michigan fan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good luck.
So
Well, how do you put your tongue in your cheek?
So on Nick's Crossing says that bought a 2032 with a non-dimple roof, and his dad threw away the box. Oh man, yeah. So Split Rock 323 says, do we have any green 027 passenger cars? I don't have any.
I do.
He's got the set of those.
Yeah, I've got a pre-war set and I've got a post-war set. As a matter of fact, I believe, I've got a green set with the box couplers, and I know I have a green set with the knuckle couplers because I have it with the steam engine that's with that. But I could be wrong on. I get confused with the green. I've got a lot of those little 027 passenger cars. I know I got a ton of the brown ones, and I've got at least two sets of the blue and silver ones. And I thought I had two sets of the green and cream ones. One with box couplers, and then one with knuckle couplers.
So Brendan, where around what area do you live there in Indiana? There are some really good train stores. Mr. Muffin's out there in Indiana. He's a great train store if you're there in Indiana.
Down by Indianapolis.
Yeah, his store is down by Indianapolis, depending on where you're at. You bet, Ozark. That 2338 is a family favorite. Just like the 624, I think our family, I think we've got three of those. Four of them. The 2338s.
I have four also.
And he's got four. So that is I don't know where Monticello is.
I do.
Is it by Cincinnati?
No, it's up north. It's kind of in the center of the lake. There's the state. There's a big lake there. My Aunt Marjorie was from Monticello, Indiana.
Okay. So how close are you to Indianapolis?
About 2.5 hours.
Oh, so you're still pretty good, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't know too many. But you know who else is there? Stout Auctions is out there. They've always got some really cool stuff on their auctions, and you'd actually go over there and pick it up.
Well, go to the auction.
So, all right. How many times as a kid watching the trains did you get too close to the track and get smacked in the head with the engine?
I don't think I ever did.
Are you sure, George?
Not that I know of.
I did a lot of things. I grew up by the train tracks, and now I like to think of myself as a respectable guy, and my dad is right here, so I can neither confirm nor deny any of the things that I did growing up by the train tracks.
I think what he's referring to getting smacked by the train is putting your head down there watching the train come at you like that.
Ah, that too.
Because I don't think he's been somebody, did you put your train head on the tracks while the commuter train came rolling through? That's not
right.
But yeah, I can't remember. I used to love to do that. I used to sit there and I loved to look at it, and I used to love to look at the tail lights on the little gray. I had a little gray passenger cars with two little red lights. They weren't lights, but in the back they weren't lit. They were just loose. I used to love to look at that train going around at night. That used to be one of my favorite things. Watching in my little layout that was quarter the size of this end of the thing. My first layout that I had. Yeah. God, isn't this fun to be able to talk about these things, everybody? Here we are sitting jabbering away. We're 2 hours and 40 minutes now. We're sitting here jabbering away about trains.
We might even get to see George fall asleep right on the air.
No, but believe it, but tomorrow morning I got to fly out to Utah with Bob in a jet.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What jet are you flying, Dad?
The McGrath citation jet. Going to fly out there, leave the airplane in Heber, Utah, and then I got to fly home on Delta.
Hey.
So
that's cool. Well, hey, guess whose birthday it is today, or tomorrow? Nick from Nick's Crossing. Happy birthday, Nick. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nick. Happy birthday to you.
That's why what my wife always ruins the end of it with that high voice.
So always talking about getting his head hit by the train. I got my head hit by the real train. Like, I can neither confirm nor deny that I was that close to the railroad tracks. when I was growing up. And if there are any pictures of me by the railroad tracks, I would have to see them first to see if they were doctored images, George.
Tiny trains don't know. They never did make a baggage car for
Amazing
those
what you can do
27
with Photoshop
cars.
nowadays, right?
It is amazing. Yeah, no, they made the baggage in the tin ones though, I think,
And
right?
they made a baggage car in the pre-war.
Yeah, but not the plastic
Like
ones.
in the
plastic
Blue Comet
027.
set has a baggage car, I believe, in the pre-war. But all those 027 tin ones, the little ones, never had a baggage car. But the pre-war ones, the old gauge set, like the Blue Comet set, they had a baggage car for that. Look at that little turbine run. That's why they're such a darn good engine. I think.
So, what's your favorite piece of rolling stock? Favorite piece of post-war rolling stock? Like I personally, I love the boxcars, and I love. Ooh, there's George pulling out a big gun right there.
That's a nice one.
Operating Bosco car. So, if you explain what that one is, George, to somebody who's never seen that one.
So it's a milk car. So what's on the inside are little milk cars. Basically, what happens is there's a
You load them up from the top.
guy that shoots out the milk cars with a milk can, and it's really cool. It's a really cool set.
What makes that different, George? Because
The normal ones have the brown roof, but they're white, and they just say Lionel lines. But this one says Bosco on it. And
I love Bosco. It's the drink for me. Mama puts it in my milk to try to poison me, but I fool mommy. I put it in her tea, and now I have no mommy to try to poison me. How about that singing?
That one's good. Ooh, Nick's got a good one. The atomic waste car.
Oh yeah, that's neat. When it lights up there. Do you have the? Lionel made an accessory in the modern times of the nuclear reactor, and I have the nuclear reactor that lights up, and I have the atomic waste car sitting on a siding behind it.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a really good one. And then Split Rock says the aquarium car. That one's a favorite one. I think we have. I think the one that you've got is in one of the other boxes that we don't have out. Shoot.
Well, there's aquarium cars. Of course, the original aquarium cars, the 35, I think they are. The number 35, 35. You got some neat variations to that. And if you got some deep pockets and want to collect something interesting, you've got the basic aquarium car, which is green with yellow lettering. Then you have the green with gold lettering. All right. Then you have the green with gold lettering and little lettering, tank 1 and tank 2 underneath it. Then you have the green with the gold lettering with tank 1 and tank 2 on the bottom, and a gold circle around the L in the middle of the tanks. And those other two are expensive to own and really hard to find in good condition.
The missile launching boxcar.
Yes.
That is a favorite. And I think we've got that one handy, believe it or not. Let me see here. We had a stream one time way back in the day. That was one of our favorite streams. Remember where we got out the missile launching station? We were trying to shoot the missiles to hit the boxcars.
I can remember certain kids back when they were kids. I had a missile.
This
car.
one's a favorite one.
That's a neat car.
Here's another fun one, neat one.
Oh yeah, Top and Hobo car. That's nice cars. That was the thing that made Lionel over HO and everything is the operating cars. Those people were fascinated by them.
Oh, there we go. There's the
Minuteman.
The Minuteman car.
Tell them about the variations. You know the variations on the Minuteman car. I remember.
So there's 3 variations of the Minuteman car. The one is a really simple variation. It's rather than a missile. It's this one here. You can see this one doesn't work real well, but the top opens up like this, and then the missile comes out here, and then it launches. But there's one version that's that's got a cannon that comes out, and it's numbered 3666, and it's got a different color blue roof. Then I think so. I think it's got like a little like a little wooden piece that it shoots. And then there's one like this that's got a light blue roof, and then one that's got a little a dimple right in here. Yeah. And the reason why they have the dimple is they use the same mold for a helicopter reconnaissance car that's from this same vintage, the same era. But let's see. This one, the diaphragm doesn't work real well. Let me see.
You know, as these things get older, there's a little air diaphragm, and you pull the release, and it compresses, and Wally just killed one of the 624s over here on the floor.
Atomic explosion right there.
Oh, you know, it used to be a habit of the youth on the layout to work with it. Then the rocket launcher we have on the layout is it's spent many hours launching rockets. As a matter of fact, the kids don't catch them real well coming back, and they land on the fences and break the fences off around the launching pad. Both rocket launcher sets that I have at the fences have been obliterated over the years.
The cows. Oh no, the horses.
The cows.
The cows and horses.
Yeah, we did obliterate that. Hey, welcome to the Stream Rail Brothers, and welcome to the Stream Florida Railroading. Glad to have you with us. We'll be on for probably about another 15 minutes or so, just buttoning up hour 3 of Friends Friday. So good to have you here. Good to have everybody here. Just loving hanging out, talking post-war trains tonight. If you haven't already and you're coming into the stream, please smash that like button. That's extremely helpful for us and helpful for the stream. So the other one too that I think is always fun is there's just a little lever that's in there, and on each side of that lever it's got a horse's head.
But like,
so,
is there any specific, like when you're rolling it, does it happen?
No,
it just
You look at it from the end. Just look at it from the end and then twist it, and you'll see horses come out both sides opposite. Neat.
T4 says, thanks, Wally. Sorry about that exploding locomotive. Hey, you know, it's just, we do it for the show. It's all special effects. Like that train crash that we had over there with the ghost switch. Special effects, right, George?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how are we going to entertain everybody?
So I can't wait to go back on the show and like roll through and find that spot and see exactly what happened. It's all on film.
Yeah, we will know who the ghost.
Was it me?
I was sitting in the chair.
That's ISEW.
I didn't move. I know better. Don't touch the trains.
Nope.
Yeah. No, it's a really a lot of fun. It's Brennan, I see you talking about a hot box. You know, that's what happens when the bearing burns up. Is they used to have a cotton in the journal, and they used to fill those with oil, and that was how they lubricated the ends of the axle. And what happened when that went dry, the journal would heat up, and that cotton that was in the box there would catch fire, and they'd have the fire, and that would kind of burn the ends of the axle off. But if you ever ride on a train today, they have the hot box detectors to see if the bearings are bad. And because in those old days on the journal, there were no bearings in there. It rode in a sea of inside of metal with this cotton with it. But you know, you go by these hot box detectors, and they'll say 27 wheels or
27
whatever.
axles.
27 axles,
No defects. Yep.
Yeah. And those are the hot box detectors.
We'll listen to the scan. Love that. I'm going on a long railroad trip. I'll bring in my scanner and just listen and fall asleep to the hot box detectors.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times.
Doesn't Lionel have the new hot box cars that start smoking?
Yeah, they do. They
I
do.
wish they made scale ones. They're all semi-scale.
Well,
They have a semi-scale PFD racer. That's really cool.
well, you ought to get it. They made different size box cars.
It doesn't match my train though.
Oh, God. I mean, go out on the railroad and see how many freight cars look the same.
But the PFD train,
Yeah. So yeah, Lionel did make some really cool cars.
Yeah.
And some really good accessories and stuff too. The crane car, that's another one that's a really good one. I love the little crane. There was a lot of play value to that one.
Yeah.
Had one of those when I was growing up.
Oh, the crane cars are just all those things. How about that? The new Lionel crane car that does everything and talks to you and all the.
All right. That there is not a piece of train or train related part that Lionel's ever made that's got more play value than that TMCC crane.
Oh,
That is the number one piece, I think, in terms of play value that Lionel's ever made.
Big hook.
Right here, yeah.
Big hook. Just whatever
that
you
one.
do, don't mess up the wiring. Don't
The
get up.
strings.
Be careful, George. You can't let.
Fingers, George. Fingers.
And then you have the
Fingers. This piece was made, I want to say about 2003-ish, by Lionel, and it's TMCC, and it is the best, the most fun piece, I think, that.
There's one thing they could fix on it though, is making these grooves stick in.
Yeah, they don't do that. You have to kind of tape them in, and then you have the sound work caboose that goes with it. That provides all the sounds. Sounds like you hear the engine in the crane going. Excuse me. All this talking here, we didn't have any bourbon. Iced tea down here tonight.
Right, iced tea.
We got Wally Souse here a couple of weeks ago. He was feeling good.
Right. No, I'm glad you like the King Kong in the background and the World Trade Center there. My mom's been painting up that mural and helped me out around the layout here. It's the Yes Railroad. So it's the Yorkville and Eastern Shore, and off the screen here, we're going to have Yorkville, and it goes around to the East Coast. So what you see is there's yet to be a bunch being over here. And then over in this corner that you can't see, we've got Chicago that's being painted at this time. So
Railfan 28, just for your interest, we went down to St. Louis and saw the 2014 there. They spent a lot of time when it was over in the yards at St. Louis, then went over to Washington, Missouri, and got some nice pictures of it going under a bridge. And then 2 years before, we chased it in our airplane from West Chicago out to Rochelle, Illinois, flying over it. There's a video on when we were flying over it, and then I think we got the video of when we were down St. Louis, don't we? Have. Yeah.
I just have a clip of it rolling through with blowing the whistle. I haven't put together a Waldozer production or GFW Trains by Waldozer production video yet of that.
If you didn't see it, next time it comes around, do it. Well worth it.
Brendan, we do have a ship. There's a ship that eventually, when we get in, it's going to go in that spot where the window is at. Sits right in. It's perfect. But yeah, and then I think we're going to have some ships over here this is the Jersey Shore over here. So we're going to have some ships over there.
I told him as a tribute to World War II, he ought to put a German submarine off there.
Blowing up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, any of you guys that live out there in the Jersey Shore know the history of the first days the United States was in war with Germany, and they used to very bad for the American shipping off there. Brendan, he's got a ship. We insured that. My wife and I gave him a really nice looking boat that goes there. Wally acting like Dean Martin. Oh God.
Oh my God.
He can't sing. I know that.
Man, I gotta tell you what, I'm looking around the train the train room here. I don't think we've ever had a stream where we've taken out more trains and had as much carnage as we've got around the train
It's
layout
going to
tonight.
take him a week to put it away so he can
It
get ready
will.
for next week.
I will.
I don't know what his team's going
I
to
was
do
really
next week.
proud of myself. Last night I got everything ready. I got out one of my favorite engines. I got out the Hudson and the Madison cars, and I taped up the Madison cars. And I was running it last night, and I ran it for a long time. I think I ran all the good miles off of it.
I think you ran the tape off the
As soon as we
sliding
started running it tonight, the tape was off the sliding shoes.
Yeah, that's the only trouble with some of those really nice early post-war, late pre-war is the sliding shoe couplers with these new tracks. You go over in the operating cars, you go over these Ross switches and they open the couplers all the time. You know, it's really. I've had to not run operating cars on my layout. They just have to sit in the siding. Oh, we got it going around the inside here now, huh?
George's been doing some switching. That's one of the I think I've got, and I know I'm going to screw everything up by saying this, knock on wood, but I think I've got a lot of the track work running pretty well where the trains are running smooth over them. I've got to get some of the kinks worked out on the switches, but the track work's coming. I got this working, so it's set pretty well. And
oh, it went from Topeka to Kansas City. Okay, you went it when it was heading eastbound. Then I got it.
Got it.
That's pretty neat.
How you doing, George?
Ding Hoy
Ding Hoy.
Feather Merchant.
Yeah.
Marine talk.
Marine talk. So in steam engines, I guess I'm thinking with post-war, my favorite are the Hudsons. My second favorite has got to be the turbines. The J. Absolutely. The J I don't think about too much because that was just kind of a one-off piece where they have the J. In DB Tech, we had out the J. Did you see the J, DB Tech? Because we had that one out. If you haven't seen, say something and I'll bust that one out. It's just right over here across the screen. We had the J. Then I would say probably turbines after the J.
The tender's a short stripe tender that goes with this.
Railfan 28, 128 train. If you would chase it from Rochelle to Marshalltown, you probably saw my dad. He was flying overhead as it was coming into Rochelle. He was in an airplane. George and I weren't in town, so we didn't get to see it when it came through Illinois here. But he was, and he flew over it and got to see it. It was pretty neat. I love the video that he took of it and gave to me. GFW Trains has a video if you want to check it out about 4014 from the air. What's your favorite post-war accessory?
Ice station, like the ice station. Somebody asked, do we have any really rare rolling stock? What would you? We've got some really rare rolling stock. We've got in the 64 we have the black lettered Rock Island boxcar, which is very rare. We've got the mislettered New Haven 64 735 in black, which is rare. Of course, we have the standard rare ones, the
64
100 Western Pacific we have with the orange feather.
The aquarium car that you'd mentioned before.
Yeah, all four of those aquarium cars that I was talking about, we have all of those. The Sentinel, the B&O Sentinel boxcar is rare. The Katy boxcar. Some of the 64s are rare, and they're the silver dump car, the green generator car. We got some of those other ones. Those in the missile space cars and that. We have
Right.
some of the. Someday we'll have to do a show from my place and do the showcase.
Right.
Where they're all sitting there. There's so many trains that you can't remember them all.
Right.
Usually we focus just on layouts, but the showcase is interesting.
So a couple things. First off, George, I want to know how your Eagle project is coming.
It's going well. Contacted the city of Big Rock about permitting, and I haven't gotten anything back. So, yeah, but so far I've gone to the club and the beneficiary, which is the park, and they both show interest in it. So,
Scoutmaster approval?
our Scoutmaster, and then I gotta go in front of the committee too. That's how it's going. I haven't really can't start it yet. So, yeah.
Right. So my favorite is favorite accessory is the gantry crane. I like the gantry crane a lot.
Those are nice.
Yep. So hey, listen, guys, we've gotten to the 3-hour point of the show. George looks like he's about ready to fall asleep on air.
See the dark circles under his eyes. He looks like an owl.
And he ran out of words about 45 minutes ago. Luckily, he and I, we've got an abundance of words over here.
Well, we're never short on words.
Yep. So listen, guys, I just want to thank everybody for joining us this evening and enjoying some post-war trains. We'll do this again. This was a lot of fun. I love showing this stuff off. We got to make it over to Grandpa George's house, OG George's house, and show you his collection, because his collection's second to none.
Yeah, it's second to the Piazza.
Well, I guess you can say that there are other better collections out there. But hey, we enjoyed doing this. We enjoyed hanging out with you, and I've always am happy to hang out with you guys, George and George. Good times here on Friday nights, and love hanging out with everybody in the model railroading community. We have a great group. So listen, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy your trains. We'll see you next Friday, and we'll see you around the roundhouse.
Take care. Good seeing everybody again.
Have a great weekend. Boom. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good times. We'll see you.